Okay, they can hear us.
Your hair down, you like have big like mid 2000s pop emo punk band thing going on, but like with your hand running through your hair like you did in that photo, like yeah.
I mean, I just take the music really seriously, you know, and we get in the recording studio and we just like to show our feelings, and we just like to really
what feelings are those?
Feel our showings, you know.
If you put it down again like you had it where it was more bushy before, you look like you just got your own Nickelodeon show.
Oh no, I died.
Oh, you good?
Well, that was the pratfall. If the viewers stay tuned, I will get slimed before the end of this episode.
Sure. I paid $500 to have slime driven to your house.
Driven?
Hang on.
Yeah.
You guys could go. I
you
forgot
can't fly
something.
that stuff.
Well, hold on now. Hear me out. Slime drone strike.
Slime drone strike. That sounds
you
like
just slime drone somebody or drone slime somebody.
Splatoon 3.
Yeah.
Slime drone strike.
I will say that Nickelodeon slime thing that happened to people when I was a kid and watched it, that was the scariest part of the show for me. Because I was like, oh my god, if that was on me, I would freak out. Like I'd rather them cut a finger off
than getting slimed. I wanted to get slimed.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That was me.
I always wondered what it tasted like.
What?
The slime, like, was it pudding?
The Nickelodeon slime.
Was it?
Did you guys see
sour?
Like probably like Jello or something.
Yeah, like I feel
Well,
like
it had to have been edible.
Something cornstarchy, right?
Petroleum.
Those kids were eating that
Petroleum.
slime. Like,
did you guys see
someone
that?
Suffocated in the slim.
Weird. What is this conversation?
I don't know. They brought it back recently. It's why I've thought about it. It was on the football games recently. There was a football game that aired on Nickelodeon, and they slimed the people during the touchdown. NFL games.
A real NFL game on it. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was interesting.
It's weird to me that slime was ever not a part of Nickelodeon, but I guess that's just me. Anyway, hi, hello, welcome to Spilling the Ale, presented by the Secret Adventures Society. The meeting will come to order. We have so many people on this call right now. It doesn't feel like spilling the ale. And I just looked over at my notes, which I don't really have, because I was like, oh, I need to like do a D&D session for these people, and I was like, oh, I don't have one. So there was just a moment of panic.
Yeah, you even said the meeting will come to order, and that's not normally.
And that's the thing that I say during the session.
Zach's just going to be like, roll initiative, and we're going to be like, what?
What the?
We'd all start grabbing for dice.
We did do that.
We did. Goon and I last time.
One round of comment.
Goon, I can hear myself in your head.
Oh yeah, I'll back up.
You're fine. You're good.
That's me.
Anyways.
So anyway, hi, welcome. If you are unfamiliar with our program, we are a D&D stream. We stream our campaign sessions every other Wednesday night. Tonight is not one of those nights, but tonight is Spilling the Ale, which is our talk show that we do on the other Wednesdays, where we talk about the characters and the campaign and our feelings and shit. So if that's your cup of tea, be sure to follow along. You can find all of our campaign episodes on YouTube. At YouTube.com/The Secret Adventures Society. Everybody's rolling a D20 in chat, and it makes me happy.
Mike rolled a natural freaking 20. Like,
of course he did.
Mike,
can
except
you please,
for those times that he doesn't.
Can you please let me have some natural 20s so you don't take them all?
Eel rolled a natural one.
Oh, Eel, no.
Should I see how
balance
much
has been restored?
Should I see how much damage he takes? I'm not going to do this.
He'll pull the kiss.
No. Put that death killer away.
That death killer?
That.
It's
you know what I meant.
Double murderous death killer.
We don't know what Eel's HP is, so.
It's true, we don't. We would just know how much damage he takes. Anyway, this is our talk show program. Welcome. If you have questions that you would like to ask our panel of players, please. Let's see. Can we get a Slido link in chat? Was it Saskew?
Slido.
Right there.
Go to that Slido link and put your question in right under. You can ask the question. You can ask questions of any of the players or all of the players or of me or whatever, and we'll get to it if we absolutely can at all. So again, I feel like I should be diving into a session. Anyway, We'll start with this. You guys have come a long way, and I'm just going to pitch this to everybody. You guys have come a long way in 18 episodes. Is there anything about your characters or the way that they've responded to their surroundings so far that have surprised you as your characters have grown and developed? Whoever talks first can start.
Yeah. So a lot of so generally speaking, like I know who Pierce is and what he would do in given situations. I think a lot about him like during the week and stuff like that. And then I'll come up with situations in my head where, okay, what if this happened? What if he's faced with this? Like getting a sense of what feels right and what doesn't. But then sometimes stuff happens in the moment that's like feels like completely out of my control. And so there were a couple of times where it was like Steve-O was sort of like taken aback by what happened. And that's what I thought, but then it was really that Pierce was taken aback by what happened. And it was like there were a couple times with Q and with Kess where I was like, afterwards, I was like, that was not the way I would have planned that, but I wouldn't go back and change it. I wouldn't retcon it because it felt like he was speaking. Sure. Yeah.
Is there a specific time that like one time you could say that you definitely felt that?
In the last episode, so there were two moments that I can think of. One was in the last episode, when it's sort of like right back to back when Q bit me. I was like, part of me was like, Pierce is gonna shoot him.
Oh God.
We're gonna have PvP in this bar, and but then I thought about it. Like in that sort of half second that you have to think about things, that option flipped through, but it's not what came out. Like he decided to sulk and swear instead, and then subsequently I can't remember if it was right before or right after. I think it was right after the conversation with Kess was like walking into that conversation. Pierce was a lot more antagonistic than he ended up being. And that was also something where I was like, how did that happen? Like after it was over. Mm-hmm. Like that didn't go where I thought it was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like going into that conversation, I could certainly tell, and it might just be because I know you, Steve-O, so well, or maybe I know Pierce so well, but I could tell going into that conversation that Pierce was ready to pick a fight.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily how it played out, which was interesting to watch.
I will say the Cass was extremely disarming, more than I expected her to be. I thought she was going to be equally combative as the way you just described Pierce would be, and then she came with some like Bruce Lee energy where she just turned your anger back around towards you, but in like a, I don't know, and I didn't expect that. As far as that's not my character, but like. It was unexpected.
If we're talking about that, if we're gonna get into that moment, Kess really surprised me because she had just died and she was in shock. Like, might as well have had a shock blanket around her, like didn't know what to do at all or how to feel. And I felt like it was interesting that Pierce was the one that kind of brought her back, like, because she was just like in her own head, not wanting to like talk to anybody or talk about it or like anything like that. And then like when he went to like fight with her, it like snapped her back to reality. And I didn't expect her to be so... I don't even know what it was. It was like wit, and then like I don't understand what happened, but it surprised me because I kind of thought she was gonna end up yelling at him too, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, it's like she didn't want to pick a fight necessarily either.
She didn't feel like it.
Right. She'd been through this trauma and she wanted to talk to somebody about anything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's like a point you get in real life too where like you've been upset for so long that you like once you get into the conversation you don't have the energy to carry it, and so it's like like Pierce is fucking like he doesn't his trust level for everybody now is at like an all-time low, like because Q bit him, Dorf punched him in combat like a couple days ago.
To be fair, he was trying to steal food.
So like, but just it was one of those things where it's like I think he just didn't like the conversation took him, I guess.
Sure.
So wait, he doesn't trust her, or he doesn't trust her with herself?
Yes.
It's more the second one.
Right. Okay. I'm just curious.
It's a little of both.
I don't think anybody trusts Kess with herself, honestly.
Especially not right now. Yeah.
Nope.
She is, as Spencer has been calling her, Messy Kessie. And
That's fair.
he
Accurate.
literally
Hot mess
has nicknamed her, and it could not be more accurate, honestly.
Okay.
I like hot Cass is really good. But hot mess.
Hot mess.
I guess you have to say the whole thing.
She's a hot mess.
That takes on a life of its own, though. Really.
Yeah.
So, Jen, Eric, Goon, what about you guys? Are there anything? Is there anything that's happened with your characters that the way your characters have grown have sort of surprised you?
Well, I'll say mine leads directly into a moment from way back, in that I definitely didn't. Q was not supposed to be a team player in the least, and I know that like he just begged Pierce.
It was
He's
about
not.
food, though. It
was about food.
It's different.
It was primal. It was, but he was always gonna have. He was always intended to have kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and I think he jumped both feet in, and I think it landed somewhere around when Jendi gave him his little crown, and I think crown ring, and I think that was a very formative moment where he felt a part of something that he had never felt a part of before as kind of an outlandery type character. After that he really had plus before that there was all that Augustus kind of doting on him, explaining things to him, walking him through like he'd never been walked through before. And I think that like Q couldn't react the way that he was intended to react to those things, because those were not situations he ever thought he would be in. So he's a lot more, I mean, as team playery as I think that character can get than I expected him to be. Because I do think that Augustus and Jendi specifically, and then later, of course, Cass and Pierce, and even Dorf to a small extent, although I do think that they have a bit of a contentious relationship, which I like. I think if you watch the relationship between Q and Dorf, I think that will be the closest to how Q was actually intended to be built. A little bit.
Yeah, but I feel like that could very easily also shift to like, you know, the Brian and Stewie episodes of Family Guy.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I can see that.
Who's who?
That's
Yes.
a great question.
Brian. I can't.
Oh my god.
Hello, Brian.
Oh, much better.
Well, I mean, Q is basically a dog, so that works.
That does work. Yes, so I think that's what surprised me, and the moment that I can pin that on is Jendi placing the crown on. It was just like, oh, they respect me. There's a thought. There's thoughts behind that. There's not just eat, sleep, and survive. So
And that was pretty early on too.
It was like second or third episode. It was a really early.
4, yeah, it was early.
Yeah.
I think that something that was kind of surprising to me was Dorf's reaction to Kess's death, because when she hit the ground afterwards, like, I immediately reacted and was like, Dorf is beelining, running as fast as his little dwarf legs can to get to her, to do something, even though he's totally useless in this situation, you know? And it was and it wasn't until afterwards I rewatched that episode, I was like, man, I didn't really think that Dwarf would react that way, but it's in the moment, that was how it was like, it was kind of like, oh, well, he does actually care about, you know, the characters that even it's the time that you've spent with them, even you don't have conversations with them, and you're still connecting because of the adventure you're going through. And so I feel like he has a connection with everyone in the party in some way that is in some sense a friend. You know, if it's just weird friend relationships, but I think that the person that he probably is connected the least with is Augustus, honestly, because I don't think that they've had very many interactions. But yeah, no, that actually kind of caught me off guard a little bit when I was, playing the character in the moment.
I will say that of everything that happened during that episode, like as far as the role play is concerned, Dorf's hold on less, that's the thing that like, first of all, I wasn't expecting it because like you said, it's not necessarily that's out of character for Dorf, but it's not necessarily what you would expect. Like it worked really, really well, but like it's got me here and I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
But that was a very nice moment.
Oh, that whole moment hit me here.
Yeah. I would say so.
Yeah.
I think for Jindy, so when we were in I was gonna say the dragon's lair, the vampire lair, and we had just kind of realized that the water was, or not the water, the like black stuff wasn't just black stuff, like it was actually like, oh my gosh, that's not what that is. And then realizing like, oh my gosh, we killed this vampire. Holy shit, we like, where's the holy water? Where is the stake? Like, must get rid of this thing.
Right.
Like, I think that, I don't know, like, I guess sometimes you also think like, how would I act in that situation? Like, would I have acted like that panic and that like, oh my gosh, like, not in a rage, but like, oh my gosh, I have to take care of it now, like just stabbing into fire and like things like that. I don't know.
Because in that moment, Jindy was she was the only one that was thinking like, or everybody else was like focusing on everything else that was going on, but like Jindy was like ready to like go the extra mile. She was very forward thinking as far as like, not this step, the next step, if that makes sense. And that was something that we had not yet seen from her. Which I personally enjoyed a lot.
I think also because she knows that, I don't know, this is the way that I think about like healers. Like, I assume that like they don't know how many like spell slots necessarily they have, but it's more of like an energy that they have. So she knew that she wasn't necessarily drained of energy, so she still had enough to push forward and take care of herself and the others if need be.
I like thinking about like healers and like wizards. That's a very good way to think about their resources as like how they feel rather than like their spell slots. Although, wouldn't it be easier if like us as people could just tell when we were tired based on how many slots we had marked off?
Yeah.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be so rad.
I feel like, well, I need a
gonna have
long
to
rest
take a
now.
nap.
Yeah.
That's
Long rest.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, we can short rest tonight. Yeah, let's stay and play video games.
I mean, I'll be honest. That's the thing that my wife and I do is talk about, like, is try to communicate with each other via spell slot, because we've been playing D&D for 5 years, and so like spell slots is a thing that we've used before to try to communicate and tell the other person like to be on the same page. I've actually this week considered writing up some like documents on psychology and D&D based on that, but that's a serious topic and we're drinking, so
Hey, did you not know that you can get into serious topics also while drinking? Like,
Yeah, good.
yes,
I've never
but-
gotten into serious conversations after.
never happened.
That's never happened every Saturday at 3 a.m.
Yeah. For real.
fair. This is fair. Every Saturday.
Does anybody else, before we move on to the next question, does anybody else have anything about their characters that have surprised them in the campaign so far?
I didn't think Q would bite Pierce, but that's neither here nor there. I also didn't think Pierce was a chicken stealer, but again, that's also not here or there.
I have been surprised that Kess has kept some stuff from the party. Because you think of
She
her
has.
as a blabber, right? Like, but
Why do you think that is? Do you think that's because of circumstance, or
she is
do
afraid
you think that's
that
because? Go ahead.
she's afraid that they're gonna think she's insane when she tells them who she talked to and what she found out.
You probably.
Tracks.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
she's
y'all
not
have
worried
done
about.
some pretty wild
She's
shit
not worried
together,
about
but-
Q.
No, he would think that she's entirely insane. Talking to people who aren't there, fucking wild.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
true.
this speaks to the you know, if I may, I think this speaks to the intelligence of the group quite a bit. That everybody's character has not done anything that I was surprised is not the right word, but like I guess maybe surprised, but like nothing was so unexpected that I felt like, oh, that was weird. Not one time. Like and I think that's very cool.
I agree. I concur.
It's
Sure.
We have some
all
questions.
felt natural, I guess, is a
Yeah.
good way to
Yeah.
put it. Like, none of it has felt forced or felt any way. Like, even the things that surprised us have still felt natural for the character to, like, so. Anyways, sorry. Go ahead with your questions, Zach.
Yeah.
Let's roll the one.
Lance.
We will call you out if you roll a
You
one.
roll a one. You're getting called
Also,
out.
Goon, I want to say thank you for joining us from the 70s.
Hey, you're welcome, Daddy-O. It's the chairs, right? It's definitely the
And the
chairs.
hair, and it's just, you know.
Spencer rolled a
would you guys
one.
buy me like 2 minutes and I'll be like right back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
totally.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sushi. If you leave sushi.
Yeah,
Sushi replacement.
Stay here. So this is perfect. This is a question specifically for Dorf from number one Dorf fan. Which
It wasn't
I
me
imagine
this
has to
time.
be- it's got to be Eric, right?
It wasn't me this time.
Wait, are you number two door fan, Eric?
I guess I am now.
It's Jen. It's Jen. She's the number one Dorf fan.
What's the question? And I'll tell you.
What has Dorf's pet been up to these past few weeks? Hiding?
Oh yeah, that's Jen.
That is Jen.
Did you ask that really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I thought I had a fan.
You do, and she was nice enough to marry you.
Oh,
That's rude.
Oh man.
So I think that it kind of, I don't actually always mention what he's doing, but Pickett spends most of his time either hanging out in Dwarf's Beard. If there's no one around and it's just the party, you'll probably see Pickett on his shoulder, or like sometimes he likes to walk around on the floor next to Dwarf. But, you know, if you're in like really high grass or something like that, you can't really see him. So, but yeah, no, he just like Dwarf hangs out with like Pickett in the evenings a lot, with just like talking to him, because Dwarf talks to his hedgehog a lot. So I guess we all talk to, you know, weird things. So
we all have something.
that's funny. Yeah, it's like he talks to a hedgehog, Q talks to a skull on his head, and Locke talks to a flower.
Her name is Kess.
Kess talks to a flower.
But Locke also does that.
I was gonna say Locke
All the
also
time.
talks.
Yeah,
My
Locke, yeah,
plants,
it's-
guys. Talk to them every day.
So yeah, I mean, he hasn't been doing anything in particular. It's, you know, the only thing is that I think that Dorf has gotten to the point where he feels comfortable with Pickett around the rest of the party, except for Q. He won't leave Pickett and Q alone, or even like anywhere near him. Like, there's definitely been times
Fair.
where they've been sitting around the campfire and Pickett probably just scuttles away and gets a little too close to Q, and Dorf just kind of snatches him up and just gives him a look like.
I want to see that. I want to see that moment actually.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you for
yeah,
answering that question
you catch
for me.
Q like licking his lips a little bit.
Like it's like a cartoon, like in one of those Looney Tune like segments where you see like a chicken or something, and then someone sees it perfectly roasted just sitting on the ground instead of
Yes.
you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
Hey, Steve O's back.
Hello.
You would totally snack that cave cricket.
Oof. It's a pointy cricket though.
That's
It's gonna be a little
true.
painful.
Goon. Sorry, that's who I am now. Goon is a big Pickett fan. Love Pickett. Q.
Goon is number one Pickett fan.
Goon is number one Pickett fan. Q is, however, just eyeing Pickett constantly.
Once it has the munchies, yeah.
Is that going to be a PvP issue as well?
Pickett versus.
That actually brings
wait.
us into into one of the next questions. As a matter of fact, Anonymous asks, "Is PvP allowed?" So we're gonna spin that ever so slightly because yes, PvP is allowed. It depends on the setting and everything. But I mean, there would certainly be times like it has happened recently in combat. Dorf was actually charmed and was made to take a swing at Pierce basically. But so let's layer this a little bit further.
Can I take a second on that? I want a second on that because this is something that I have not gotten resolution on, because nobody has, because this story hasn't resolved. But it was a thing in the game where the combat had ended, and then we realized that we had to retcon something because of something like a disadvantage. It was actually supposed to be a disadvantage. Oh, right, forgot. Hold on, let me re-roll. But we had won, basically, and then Dorf rolled again, failed, turned, took a swing at me, and the Dorf, I remember the first time I was on Spilling the Ale, was the only person in the party that Pierce even came close to trusting, which was just because he was, like I said, he was just he's so Dorf that if he was going to kill me, he would, knock on my door
exactly
and
what you said, yeah,
and go, "Oh, I'm here to kill you," kind of thing. And so now that he's been struck by him, that was to me and also to Pierce, that was about as heartbreaking as almost as heartbreaking as Kess dying the second time, which was the one guy that he could and so it was just the way that came out was just so interesting. So I didn't mean to derail us there.
I don't remember if you recall, but Dorf was really pissed off that he was freaking charmed. You might think that might have been something he's had to deal with in his past, because he was very angry. He burned that freaking casket to the ground and then pissed on it. So that's how mad he was. And then he was just like, "This is what we're doing." Yeah, he was like, "This is what we're doing." So
I forgot that happened. I think I repressed it.
I thought it was just dudes having a thing where they wanted to pee on fire.
They were holding hands.
Sure.
That I can. Yeah.
But yeah, he was it was one of the moments where I feel like that was the most raw and angry that Dorf has ever been in this entire adventure, because he literally snapped out of it. And when he realized that he was under control and he did not have control over his own actions, he was so mad that he turned around, put his hands on that casket, and it just went up in flames, and just imagine Dorf just being like, "Ah!" That was how he was super pissed, because he, like myself, don't like to be under control over. That's one of the reasons why I always say that personally, Eric, has never been drunk. I've never been high, because it puts me in a state where I'm not in full control over what I'm doing, and I hate that. So Dorf kind of shares that feeling, but in a more fantasy magical sense, but still so, and it sucks too, because like Steve was saying, they were actually almost friends in some weird way, and now it's I guess I would imagine that since then, Steve-O's or Pierce has been very apprehensive towards Dorf, so he wouldn't be able to just straddle Steve-O naked and be like, "Wake up!" and Steve-O just be like, "Oh," and push him off. There would probably be a fight at this point.
Pierce. Not Steve-O, Pierce.
Yeah.
Not Steve-O.
Make that very, very clear.
Sometimes I straddle Steve-O naked, guys. Just don't.
Yeah, that's
happens.
That's a different show. That's a different campaign. But yeah, so Pierce hasn't been sitting with Dorf. Pierce hasn't been. They used to be roomies. Yeah, he won't share a room with him. Dorf did bring the hat over, which Steve-O was expecting, and that was one thing I thought about how Pierce would deal with that, and getting a hat back was yes, I really want the hat. I'm not going to decline the hat because I need a hat, but I also still have an issue, and so that was the the thing. So I didn't mean to take too far away from the PvP question. It was just like the Dwarf Pierce thing is something that's been sitting in my brain for months.
Yeah, no, I mean that's perfectly valid. Like that was I love those moments where like the party not only loses control of the battle, like you guys have always been kind of in control, but when the party, like when anyone is charmed or something like that, like I love the it's more interesting to see what follows and how the party reacts to that than even it is to have them in combat against each other sometimes.
Yeah. And I think another thing is that one of the other things that sucks is I don't think that Dorf understands why Pierce is being that way towards him, because it's because from my standpoint, I felt like everybody knew that I was under control of it. I was out of like not controlling myself, so it's kind of like, hopefully at some point it gets to the point where, that there's a resolution. But right now it's just kind of like, Pierce is like, screw that guy. And Dorf is like, what did I do?
Yeah, he could snap on us at any minute.
Yeah.
And I think that's good in character, because Pierce is a very low magic person. Dorf understands the magic, and Pierce is just like, no, that guy fucking threw hands at me.
That makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is Pierce the only person that's been rolled against via party members, because Dorf hit him and Q hit him.
Yes.
Has anyone else?
I think it's been Pierce twice.
Well, hang on.
In terms
It
of
was
PvP.
it was almost pierced 3 times.
What was the
third
third?
That was the third, yeah.
I'm sorry that I've watched our show about 40 episodes, or 40 times an episode. But in episode 5, when Pierce kept calling Kess Crab Lady, she turned into a tiger and stalked him.
I forgot about Crab Lady. That was
So
good.
it's
That was-
just,
That was good.
So yes, PvP is a thing, so long
PvP is
as
very
one of the
much so
P's is Pierce.
Yeah, PvP is a thing that's going to happen towards
Oh my
Pierce at
gosh.
some point.
Player v Pierce. Yeah,
Player versus
Pierce.
coming.
Party versus Pierce. That's what it is.
So, like, I mean, obviously, we've got a good understanding amongst ourselves as a group. If there are some groups where obviously that might not necessarily be allowed, because maybe it's difficult to explain and it varies based on the group. But some DMs might have to deal with a player who is unnecessarily contentious, or just kind of a little bit of an IRL troll, and there might be situations where a DM has to not completely disallow PvP, except for instances in which it happens in combat or something like that. But this is just I can't remember who asked that. I think it was anonymous, but
of course,
this is just
it's always
kind of
anonymous.
yeah. This is
Fuck that
actually
guy.
we've got some. We had Dorf fan, remember?
Yeah.
But that's just that's not necessarily advice, because I can understand why people would need to run that rule at their table. That's just kind of what we're rolling with here. Let's see. This one, actually, there's 2 for Goon. One,
gosh.
well, I mean, one is a yes or no, and it's from anonymous, and it's does Ranger Goon know that I love him?
Yes.
He knows. And the second one is from Spencer. Q, did you actually know what you were purchasing when buying the necklace, or just shiny?
Okay, hold on. Q did not know, and still doesn't know canonically what that necklace is. Goon knows. Goon is very intimately familiar with what that necklace does and what it is, and is really excited that his little chaos lizard has that necklace. But I do think that canonically, somebody's got to tell him what it is. I don't know if he's more dangerous, knowing or not knowing.
That's an Augustus problem.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Might be all of your problems.
True.
But yeah. I knew what it was immediately. You can tell that from the second Zach said what it was. I
You
sat
can
up.
see it all over his face. He's
It's,
just
the-
I will say that if I didn't think that Q would have wanted it, even without knowing what it was, I would not have purchased it. However, I do think that Q has a thing for jewelry now, going back to the Jindy thing. I think that he has a thing for jewelry. He's also got his eye. I want this on the record. He's got his eye on Augustus has a ring, and he's got his eye on that ring. And he's not going to steal it from him. He might have if it was anybody other than Augustus, but it's a pretty little feather ring or bird ring. I can't remember what it is.
A lot of us have rings on.
This is a very
Yes.
bedazzled group.
Yes, and he has got his eye on every piece of jewelry because I now think that he equates that with human's status or humanoid, more not kobold status. I think he equates it with because Jindy made this big deal, and I think that like he thinks the more jewelry, the more power. Yeah, that's gonna be Q in episode like 20.
Dorf literally
40.
wears all 3 of these rings.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
That's
So,
awesome.
Goon, when did that happen? When did that realization happen for Q and / or for you as a player that was not only just a fun little quirk, but actually a role play character development thing that like Q associates these items, these shiny rocks that he'd never really seen before he came out of his cave, right? Like when did that happen?
So I think I can pinpoint it exactly, in that obviously it started with Jindy, but then I think that he's got a little bit of a goblin type collector energy, but he's focused on jewelry, and it was when they were passing out magic items from I think Kess was passing out magic items from a kill or a
It was a
bounty.
heist.
A heist. Yes, that's what it was. Thank you. And Augustus got that ring, and Q realized, like, he perked up and was like, "Oh shit, that's a ring that exists that is not mine." And and then the next ring that came around, Q was like, "That one." And so I think that's when he realized that he had a thing, and simultaneously Goon realized that Q had a thing for jewelry.
I love
So
that. I
I do
love him
too.
being kind of like goblin-esque.
a little bit
when it comes
goblin-y,
to-
and
yeah.
he doesn't understand it because he's never cared about anything other than food. But I don't understand
Moving on up in
it.
the world.
It was that episode though that I was like, I wish that was the magic item that. But also, Q already got a ring that time. But I also kind of want Gus's. So
Yeah. Perfect.
Next question is also from Anonymous. This is going to be pretty quick. Who's taller, Q or Dorf?
Dorf.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking. Dorf is what, 4 foot?
No, I don't know.
Get your character sheet.
The high 4 feet, right? Like almost
4'4".
5. 4'4". Oh, okay,
4'4",
low
yeah,
4
yeah.
feet.
4'4", yeah.
How tall?
He's
Q
short,
is-
but Q is a lot shorter.
2'7", I think. 2 foot. He's teensy. I mean, he is little.
He's small. And a fun fact is, Jin is actually the tallest. Jindy is the tallest one out of all of us.
She's what, over 6?
Yeah.
A tall bitch.
Got major step on me vibes. She's like the
Yeah.
vampire from Resident Evil.
Ah, the vampire.
Miss Dimitrescu.
Oh God, that. The reason I know everybody's height is because I've drawn everybody a few times, so I've had to figure it out. So it's
Wow.
like, it's from the tallest, it's Jindy, and then Pierce, and then I think Kess, and then Augustus was a lot shorter than I thought.
He's just wide.
Yeah, yeah.
Very wide.
So it's Augustus, and then Dorf, and then Q.
Yeah, and Q is still about half of Dorf's size, or like
So-
2/3 or something.
Q, can I please read under characteristics? Your Q's height is 5'4", 2'4". He weighs 37 pounds.
2'4".
Can I please read? Can I please read to everyone what you have under Q's faith? Would that be betraying any sort of secret?
I don't
that
know
you
what.
have?
I don't remember what I wrote there. I never listen to the words that come out of my mouth. So I also
Can I please don't look? Can I please just say it? It's not
yeah.
a secret.
yeah.
Under faith, under characteristics in D&D Beyond, Goon has written shrug emoji. Like written out the word shrug emoji.
Yeah.
That's a mood.
Wow.
Yeah. That's my little lizard boy.
Yeah. That made
love
me
Kira.
incredibly happy. Next question, and this is for each of you. Regarding the Psyhoff job that you are currently on at the moment, what are your characters going through internally as they face what seems to be their most dangerous mission as of yet?
I think for Pierce, like, he's almost checked out because he's not sure he even wants to do it or even gives a shit at this point, because he's started to invest in people and it all backfired. And so the fact that he's even still in the party is somewhat of a minor miracle, like, at all. So like, I'm gonna grab my money and go was like legit on the table for him, and could still be. You might see Steve-O roll another character, like, you never know. But like the storms are so secondary to him right now because he's just like, he hates Q and he hates Dorf and he hates that he's worried about Kess, and Augustus annoys the shit out of him. And now Jendi is the only person that is even a neutral to him at this point, who is like if anybody were to ask him to go do anything, he'd probably decline everybody but Jendi. Like, if Jendi was like, hey, you want to go something, like, fine, you know, like, you're the only person that has tried to kill me or hurt me in some way yet. So
Try to freaking hurt him.
well, I understand. Steve-O understands that.
I know you do. I'm yelling at Pierce.
She hurt his feelings.
he had a feeling and it got hurt.
Right.
And
Right.
and so the storms to him are just background noise at this point.
Did the gun make him want to stay a little more? If he was.
Oh yeah, he
thinking
wants
about
to
leaving?
shoot the shit out of that thing.
Okay.
Yeah, as I mentioned to Locke at one point over the week. I was like, this was like, you know, the video of N64 kid on YouTube. That was Pierce's like N64 moment. Like, oh, it's basically fucking Christmas now. Like,
Right.
so yeah.
So how long do you think, because that was near the end of the session, but how long do you think that joy, do you think Pierce will ride on that? The closest thing we've seen to Pierce have to joy, that's me being a little bit hyperbolic, but how long do you think that will last?
I guess it depends on like if he gets to use it.
Sure.
But the like Dorf gave him a gift and Kess gave him a gift, and like, so there's these little things where he's like, he can't quite bring himself to leave even though he like wants to in a way.
Mhm.
And so say the kind of thing he would do is say, I'm gonna leave for the purpose of allowing someone the opportunity to talk him out of it. Because if he wanted to leave, he'd have just left in the middle of the night.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's sort of where he's at right now, is like, oh, a reason to stay, okay, but he'd never admit it.
It's like that. I don't know if you guys see the episode of Futurama where all the main characters got turned into kids, and Bender is just like on this motorcycle, and he's like a teenager, and he's like, I'm out of here, I'm gonna leave, and then the professor's like, go ahead, and he's like, okay, I'll be good.
right, yeah.
Spencer said he's playing everybody for gifts. He just wants presents.
I mean, that tracks.
Accurate.
That's funny.
Apparently.
That's funny.
So
Okay, what was the
dangerous.
The Psyhop job.
I was just gonna
So
let it be
dangerous.
silent and see who's going first. It was the question was, and just whoever wants to answer next, this is for everybody. Regarding the Psyhoff job, what are your characters going through internally as they face what could be seen as their most dangerous mission yet?
We got to get some more diamonds.
Is that Jindy's primary thought? Is we got to bling up?
Like, where are we going to get the funds to get diamonds, or where are we going to get diamonds? Not
Oh.
necessarily like both
Oh.
ways. Yeah.
We gonna steal some diamonds.
Diamond Heist.
She is a,
Secret Adventures.
she is a pirate.
Diamond Heist.
True. True.
Yeah, I think that Dorf is just like he's not a stranger to he's not a stranger to danger. But because he was a soldier, he fought in wars, like, so he's not really a stranger to that, to danger. But I think that he doesn't like the fact that he doesn't understand his enemy like he does in a battle, in a war, because it's unpredictable, it's random, it's just these, the storms or whatever they call it. So yeah, he definitely is, he's a little bit nervous about it, but I think that more than anything, he wants to find out what the cause is so that he can destroy it.
What if, follow me, we wrap ropes around our waist, so if somebody falls in, we can pull them out.
I mean, they eventually come back dead.
I mean, yeah, I don't think it's that. I think it's the second you cross over it, because Kess used her familiar for the first time ever and flew it into a death trap instantly. So I'm pretty sure it's just instant death.
That's what they're for.
Yeah. I mean, they come
We've
back.
done
There's a
that.
roll. It's not
fine.
just instant death. There's
They
a
come-
roll involved.
You did not make. the
You
familiar
didn't see
roll.
him make.
I made a roll, yes.
Oh.
No.
It's not like you just automatically took 120 points of damage. Like, there was a roll for that. I wasn't trying to hide it. I grabbed my phone. Like, I just can't. I can't roll
No.
that many dice. Yeah.
I was talking about the familiar. I know what happened with Cass dying. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
We're fine.
It's fine. It's fine. It's all good. Anybody else?
I'll say that Q Q gets his energy off. He's fully extroverted. He gets his energy off of everybody around him. He's empathetic, I think is what I'm trying to say. And so he's feeling a little nervous because Pierce and Cass both seem nervous and depressed for Cass's position. He feels a little angry from Dorf and worried, just like Pierce, but also Jendi. Like, he's just picking up on all the vibes of everyone around him. He does not understand this magic stuff. From his perspective, he doesn't really use magic. He has just these hunting tricks that he pulls out. He doesn't understand what's going on. He just knows that so far he's not been as much danger around this group as he used to be out in the wild by his lonesome. So I think he's been honestly just hoping that they're not splitting up. He's feeling this energy from Pierce. And it's a little bit that, like, oh no, mommy and daddy are fighting kind of thing, except he's got like 6 mommies and daddies. So
We gotta stay together for the Q.
yeah.
Our little lizard. Our little good lizard boy.
Oh.
Well,
Then he's
here's your
also-
holiday.
Internally worried about the dream that he had that night. And so I think that Pierce said he was checked out. Q is also equally checked out because he's got other things he's worried about. And that's the party dynamic and also whether or not he's going to kill the party.
So that
Shit,
from just
more.
like a player perspective, hearing about Q's dream was more that was like surprising. I thought that, like, everybody's past was going to haunt them, and then when Q experienced a nightmare, it was going to be that, like, the sandwich was a little dry, and like that was like Q's nightmare. And so there being like substance to that was like, oh yeah, I think like Q is more complicated than like I think I personally gave him credit for.
Yeah, same. I think that Q has lived a complicated life. I don't know if Q is more complicated, but the life around him is, yes. Yeah.
That's a very good way of putting it.
Okay.
I mean, Q himself is more, I think, more complex than, I think we've all established he's more complex than most of us gave him credit for in the beginning, and I feel like that can be indicated in the in his coffee breakdown. Like that's one of my favorite moments in the campaign because first of all, it's so fucking
good.
funny, but second of all, it was like just brilliant player character role play, like just the idea and everything that came after with the necromancy, and it was good shit. Goon and Dorf both.
I appreciate you. I will Venmo you afterwards since I paid you to say all that.
Pay up.
That was there's an episode that I wasn't on, Dorf, where with the necromancy discussion and Dorf was like hardlining. I want to know what was going on in Dorf's head at that point. I mean, we kind of got a glimpse of it, and it may not be terribly complicated, but I remember because I was not on that episode, so I was listening to it back, or I was watching it back, and that was the time where I was like, oh shit, like, are we gonna lose Dorf like to something so it's not inconsequential, but you know what I mean?
It's kind of like, so we were talking about how he doesn't understand the storms or whatever, and that really pisses him off because Dorf has this desire to understand things, but he knows that he's not smart enough to understand a lot of things, and that makes him really mad. And so that applies to a bunch of different stuff in his life. So if it's something that he doesn't understand and he wants to understand, but he just doesn't understand it, he gets very things become very black and white, and he gets really pissed. So it's like he doesn't understand those things. He doesn't understand necessarily how necromancy works, and so because of that, he has this hatred, and it's more like this internal hatred for the fact that he doesn't think that he's smart enough to understand it. That's why he was a fighter that learned magic, and that's how he became an Eldritch Knight. So he's not even full magic user, and it's kind of funny because in the design of the characters, he is as an Eldritch Knight, everybody else is using level 7 spells and stuff. He's using level 2 spells because he's an Eldritch Knight, so he's also a fighter. So he's still, even in that way, feels like he's not as smart as the other magic users there, and then not as cool as the other fighter that's there that's shooting these awesome advanced weapons, and he's smacking things with hammers. So and as a player, I often feel like, man, I'm looking at my stuff and I'm like, I feel like I don't do as much DPS, going back to my WoW roots. Right. I don't feel like I do as much DPS as everybody else in this group, and it's frustrating, but it's also part of him as a character, his design, so his character design and his narrative backstory work really, really well hand in hand. And I think, just because, like you said, he's a soldier, and then other things that have happened in his life, the reason he would be interested in magic, and it's really interesting to see the way that you play that character. And I feel like you play it really, really well. As far as, like you said, that's not something I had considered, but now that you say it, it makes sense. I can see him. We see this jolly Dorf, but there's some anger lurking beneath the surface there, and that's really juicy. I look forward to what can I do to bring that out? Kill Cass again.
Oh God. What was that, Locke?
Are you moving?
Did you just say no, or were you about to say something?
No. I'm waiting on you to say something, and then I'll butt in if I have to.
Oh, you can butt in. Go ahead.
Nope. Go ahead.
I don't remember even what I was saying.
You're good.
I was complimenting. Okay, so I was just saying, the way that Eric is playing Dorf with the, he said, almost he feels he's got a little bit of shame. He feels like he's not doing as much as the rest of the group, and even though we all know that he is, I mean, it makes sense as far as some of the nuanced ways in which that character reacts to stuff, which I like.
I will say as when the necromancy came up, Q has a completely different barometer of what is okay and not okay, and so when that came up, it was like, obviously this person can be up walking again, and that means it's a good thing. And then there was someone who hard fought against it in the group, and while I said that Q and Dorf have a contentious relationship, it's mostly because of the fact that he wants to eat his pet, head shock. But he does still look up literally to Dorf because he's 2 feet taller than him. But also because he recognizes him as a strength. But when he told Q that he didn't want to be a part of it, that was the first. Kess was willing to I'm gonna hear Q out, but Dorf was like, no. And I love a hardline character. I love a hard no. My character's just not gonna be okay with this. And Q also didn't know how to handle that. Had never been told no by this group. And I don't know. I really have not much more to say other than Pierce brought up that moment, and I just wanted to say that's a fantastic moment. I love inter-party conflict.
Right. It was really fun to watch because up until this point, the group has almost encouraged Q's bullshit, and so it was very fun to watch Q, and you did a very good job with it, Goon. It was very fun to watch Q struggle to understand why this was the line.
Yeah, and that's because it didn't make any sense to him, and I applaud Eric in that he didn't. It's so much easier to say yes to things that people around you want to do. It's very hard. What is it? The first, I don't want to bring Harry Potter, but there's a very good moment in the first Harry Potter book / movie that where Neville gets points for standing up to his friends. Yeah. It's very difficult to tell people who are on your side no to something. Yeah. And that's hard to do. I'm glad Dorf did it, and that was the first time where Q was like, oh, there are consequences to my actions, and what I do affects the people around me.
Yeah. And I liked Kess's response to it too, where Kess is just talking to Q, and just no, your opinion is valid. Dorf is being an asshole. It's pretty much the way that I felt that 100%. He's being an asshole. Your opinion is valid, and I'm just okay.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
This question is what?
I never answered the question.
Oh, okay. Sure.
I would really love for you to.
So it's about the Sci-Hoff job
and
how she feels. Kess is also checked out.
Right.
Not that she does not want to know what's going on, because she has even more of a reason to want to know what's going on based off of the conversation that she had with a certain person. I was just looking at Zach to see how he reacts to that. Whenever she, got knocked out the first time. But, so she wants to know what's going on, but she's absolutely terrified of these portals now. You can't look at death in the face again after you've, died, and you don't know how you're gonna stop it from happening a second time if it does happen. So she's terrified. But she's not. She's not just terrified because of her, but she is, she's afraid right now.
Right.
Probably the first time in her life, I think.
So that's a question I'd like to extend to the rest of the group, actually, because Kess, and I feel like this kind of goes for everybody else as well, or it might, maybe with the exception of Dorf because of the soldier thing, but. So Kess has, correct me if I'm wrong, but Kess and probably everyone in the party to an extent has felt most of their life like they have an element of control. And even on the adventures up until now, those characters probably felt like they were in some amount of control. But then Kess, when she was talking to Pierce, said, I tripped and I fell and I died. So you were just confounded that it was that simple after everything that you've been through. So everyone in the party after seeing this level of danger and this level of sort of chaos that you don't really have any control over, at least you don't think you have any control over, has that affected you, or do you think that will affect you and your decisions as you move forward?
Yes, in real life it has.
is Jindy, but Jindy is to me strikes me as someone who very much is captain of her own ship. kind of thing. And
Literally.
I like what you did there, Steve-O.
like, is this, especially from Jindy, I want to know how this feels.
Real life, yes. Like Jen, all the time. Like that. I think when you said that, I was like, wow, like I could trip and die, literally. Like, anyways, from Jindy
Sorry, guys, I
though.
didn't mean to send you guys into a literal mortality crisis. Like,
It's really easy these days.
You could literally walk outside, say hello to someone, and then get us. It's dangerous.
I don't know. I don't think necessarily. I mean, she was on a ship where they were looting, scooting, and pillaging, and people died, and probably for some pretty stupid stuff. So I don't necessarily think. I don't think that probably hit her as hard as people might have thought that it did.
interesting.
I mean, not that they were like, what are the bad guys in Pirates of the Caribbean? I mean, there's a whole bunch of them, but like she wasn't on
Pirates?
like, no,
What's
she
the
wasn't on
name
like
of that
the bad guy
guys?
ship.
Yeah.
But like stuff happens like when you're out at sea and like you just have to get by and do things. Like, yeah, she tried to save people and heal them as much as she could, but I mean, people died and pirates be stupid, yo.
Pirates be stupid, yo. Can we put that on a t-shirt?
Pirates be
So,
stupid, yo.
But okay, what about? So if that moment didn't necessarily negatively affect Jindy or like send her into, I don't want to say like send her into a spiral, but like, is there anything else that you've encountered that Jindy has encountered on this adventure that you don't necessarily think your time as a healer on a pirate ship prepared you for?
Yeah, Cass hurting herself.
Okay.
So the
Also Jin in
second
real life.
one-
Okay.
So the second one was just like, well, sometimes shit happens and Jindy's here to save the day. But the first one was more like, what are you doing?
This is self-inflicted.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like we watched her do this on purpose.
Well, I mean, now I feel like she's not going to be as careless with that kind of stuff because of what happened,
Well,
right?
Well,
I don't know. It's she's
Never know till it
just
happens.
died, and then it affected her in a way that I would assume, but you know what? I can't assume.
so the funny thing is that after I call the first one the knockout because it wasn't death. Like she did not
Right.
die.
Right.
So after the knockout, she was like, yeah, that was a good decision. I got some answers. Oh, crap. I got to tell these people about these answers, and they're going to think I'm insane because I talked to someone who's around all the time, but not really around all the time. And, like, I don't know how they're going to take that. You know, like, so she's kind of toying with that, but she's, like, proud of the information that she found out. And she's, like, she feels like the thing that she set out to do when she knocked herself out worked. But then next episode, she died for a completely different, like,
Right.
I'm sure that they're related in some way, but not like, you know, that one wasn't her choice.
But do you
So-
think that she understands that the first time could have led to death? The knockout was just lucky?
Yeah, I think she was okay with that. Like, because she was in control, that was her decision, and she knew Jindy was there, and she desperately wanted information in any way she could get it. So that was her way. But the second she tripped and fell, she was not in control. That was literally a accident that she had nothing to do with other than just being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Well, also, like, Jen can literally never miss a session ever again because, god damn it, if you're not there to pull us back from the break.
Okay, look, I'm gonna set the record straight, right? You guys have a cleric in the party. I am a fairly benevolent DM, I think. If Jen were to miss a session and you guys, someone was to actually die, and Jen, like, if you guys in the party had the resources to revivify that person, I would allow that to happen because that's what would happen if Jen the player was there. Does that make sense?
And I also want to note
Yeah.
that Jindy is not the only person with Revivify.
That is also true.
Cass can do
And
it
that's
as
that's
well.
some above of
Well,
that's
it's
some
just
above
if-
the table thinking.
If Kess could maybe stop being the one that
if
died.
she wasn't dead.
Yeah, right.
Because, like, I swear, you know, Q or Pierce goes down, and Kess, if Kess's turn is up next, like, she's there. You
if
know,
she's not
like,
a tiger.
But she hasn't
no,
really.
she'll
She
drop
hasn't
it
really.
and go. But
I was
she
about to
hasn't.
say she hasn't really shown to the rest of the party that she
No.
does any
Right.
That's
healing
true.
at all.
Yeah,
No,
we
no,
think
not at all.
that was news to me.
So yeah, we have no idea.
Yeah.
She's the Jendy's the one that helps us all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Our
Exactly.
team
As far
mom
as
is going to
healing,
help.
yes.
yeah.
But I think that in the right situation, I mean, well, like if Jindy went down, like Kess would be there. Like, right?
I was gonna say it's kind of the point where I think that the strategic members of the party are protecting Jindy, knowing she's the healer, more so than protecting Kess, because Kess is taking the tank role.
Right.
Tanks
So that
go
actually
down, they
brings me-
get revived in battle all the time. You guys should play well.
Many a raid have prepared you for this. So
Be
okay,
resting
that actually
walk.
right. That actually leads me to another question for everyone. So we know that, like, we know now that Kess has Revivify, like that was news to some of you. Is there anything that all of you as players have not gotten? Is there an ability or a feature
Yes.
that you've not gotten to use as a player that you're just like chomping at the bits, that you're just itching to get to do?
Yes,
Okay.
I love good.
so much. Yes. I'm not gonna tell you what it is. That's the spoiling things.
I'll
but
tell you.
Yeah, you don't have to tell. You can just say yes or no, or you can say if you want.
I'll tell you what mine. So, when we were absent,
Do I as the DM need to take my headset off? just
no.
to check you?
When we were absent, you guys were doing something, and I was watching it, and you guys were doing something, and why is your name not in my head? Freaking Zach. Okay.
There you go.
Anyways, so Zach was playing Dwarf, and he was like,
it would have been fun.
because Law keeps on correcting me on like, oh, you got to refer to their character name. So I was
Zach
just like,
is
what's
Zach.
that character name? Oh, it's
Here's the idea.
the DM. Anyway, so you were playing my character, and you used his comprehend languages to read something. And so the moment you did that, I was just like, hey, I wanted to use that.
I
He
yelled
was
at
really
him.
upset.
I yelled at him.
It was so funny because I was just like, oh man, I hadn't used that one yet.
I am so sorry.
But it's fine. It makes sense. It was in the moment I would have used it, but it was just funny because I was like, gosh dang it, it's why I don't miss D&D.
I'm so sorry.
Because I was like, I wanted to use. I was super excited about being like, oh, Dorf can read it, and it worked.
Man, I'm a jerk. I thought I didn't realize that was the first time you had used it.
Yeah, well, I hadn't used it until then. Every time I had the opportunity to like get other spells or something, I was like, I'm gonna hang on to this one because this is gonna come in useful. Like,
And it did.
That's funny.
Yay.
yeah, hooray for me.
I did like. I'm sorry.
But yeah,
I'll
there
do
is
that again.
there, and it's not that's not the only one. That one was fine. Like there's an ability that I have that's I have a really cool way to use it in combat, and I haven't done it yet, and I don't want to ruin it. So,
Yep.
like just like Ori, like Goon, it's the same for me. Like, yes, but I don't want to tell you guys because when it happens, it's gonna be fucking dope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
I'm
actually just
excited.
realized that I have two. I not only have an ability, but an ability, but I also have an item that I've not used in this entire campaign that has not even
Preceding
been touched.
the Necklace of Death.
Preceding the Necklace of Death and preceding the Ring of Warmth Q has. He can now be resistant to cold damage, but we have not needed that yet. But yeah, there's an item. We all started with a magic item, and Q has never used his. So that's
I
exciting.
used mine like second episode.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this item,
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out why you haven't used it yet, but it's
because he has so many things he can do there, and I think he's gonna try to try. Gus isn't here, but he's gonna try to trade that for that shiny ring.
Oh, perfect.
I've still got that vampire knoll fang that I ripped out of the mouth of one of those. That I'm just like, I'm gonna do something with this. I don't know what.
I got something. Like, you can like pick your spells every night or morning or whenever it is for your character. So screw it. I'm just gonna say it. After Dorf was so against like necromancy, Jindy since then has not prepared any necrotic spells.
I would say she's prepared at least one.
Has she?
Revivify.
Oh, it didn't say on there that it was.
It's necromancy, but not necrotic damage.
Right. It's a form
Yeah.
of necromancy. That's why Kes was like, "Is it healing? Is necromancy the same thing?" Because in D&D they are.
They're the same thing. Yeah.
It is.
I was just looking at like the actual sheet, like necrotic damage.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. Saying that to Dorf makes him feel stupid and makes him feel even more mad. That's the problem with it. Like, that's the problem with it. Is it's like, you're being condescending to me, you know.
Don't talk down to me. I'm 4'4".
Heel says a necromancer is just a late healer.
I think it's somebody that likes to kiss you right here. So
a necromancer.
I can't wait until Kes does actually not be selfish and heal somebody. Because I think everybody's gonna be like, "What the heck?"
What?
But
oh yeah, she's a druid. She can do everything.
You're the druid?
I do get a spell around level 10, I think. Maybe it's 11. And I'm not gonna tell you guys what it is, but I freaking am so excited, and I have to keep Kes alive to at least use it once. Zach is say, mad.
Good luck.
I'm not excited about it.
He's angry because it's gonna just change everything for the whole party.
It's gonna make my life so difficult,
I'm
you guys.
So pumped.
But that's neither here nor there. Does anybody else have anything that Steve-O, did you have anything that you wanted to admit that you like? Not admit it, that's the wrong phrasing, but is there anything that you're willing to disclose that
so like Pierce is pretty straightforward in terms of like his like combat. He's gotten to shoot shit, and that's what he likes to do. So I don't have any. Pierce doesn't have anything like prepped or like some big reveal or something. Like, there's nothing to it. The thing that I like about Pierce though is that he's actually more clever than I gave him kind of credit for, because whenever we're in a situation, he'll shoot shit, but he also looks for other things to manipulate in the environment. Like, okay, let's throw the holy water in the air and shoot it and see what that does. Let's take my hat and spill up goop and toss that at it and see what it does. And so he's more of like he's very much like a prisoner of the moment. Like, what's around me, I will shoot stuff while I try to, is there a fire extinguisher on the wall? Because I'll throw that like, Die Hard 5 style and shoot it down the hallway or something like that.
You always need that in a party, because
absolutely. The hat goop was another moment of brilliance that I feel like that exact decision, the hat goop, probably averted more damage than anyone realizes.
I didn't think it did shit.
I'm uncomfortable with its name now.
Hat goop.
The hat goop. that moment. No, I mean it led you guys to realize like it was a very smart moment, because you guys were able to figure out what was, not necessarily figure out what was going on, but it gave you a clue as to some of the stuff that's going on. But also like it once you figured out what it was, it kind of like destabilized a volatile situation, or not it stabilized a volatile situation eventually.
Yeah. I feel like Pierce and Jindy, or Steve-O and Jin specifically, have been really good at thinking outside of the box in combat. Whereas a lot of us are like, this is my ability, this is what I'm gonna do. And then like honestly, Jen will inspire me when she's just like, I'm gonna make it rain holy water in here. When
That
we were
was cool.
and I was just like, what the fuck? That's amazing. Like
Yeah.
so then like I'm just like, what can I do? I need to figure like I don't want to fight regularly because, you know, they're doing this really smart, cool shit. So I think it's cool because it inspires the rest of us, but you guys have been doing a really good job at that.
I agree.
Smart shit.
Thank you.
Smart shit. Smart player shit. That's hashtag smart D&D.
Oh, well, now he wants to shoot the big gun. Like, I mean, he may not wait till combat to shoot the
shoot a
big
hole
gun.
in the
We'll
wall.
we'll see. Yeah.
I love that.
I just imagine because another one of my favorite moments of the campaign has been like Pierce just shooting a bullet at this opening in the air.
Oh,
Yeah, you were just like, for the hell of it, I shoot at it. So, but like I imagine like in head canon, he gets the gun, and he might just be like, well, let's see if this one does anything.
well, like also
Tater,
he was
sorry,
well, he was just aside on the weapons before we move on. Is like he was very much like laser focused on the Brenna character, like trying to up the firepower, and so like now he's got a new gun, so it's like that completely sidetracked. Like that was the thing he wanted. He was specifically looking for and got.
Right.
So now like these, you know, or whatever. He's
Can
ready.
you do all of those sound effects one more time?
Yeah. So he's like,
Yeah.
full ready to go.
So Tater and Smitch ask, how does each player think Q will kill them all? Quote, not with the necklace.
I think
So, like,
Pierce is
okay.
just afraid that he's gonna wake up and Q's gonna be like up to the knee, having eaten him.
Yep. Valid.
Oh my gosh.
I was thinking that exact same thing. Just wake up and then just, he's just eating your arm.
Characters go.
I don't think Kess is afraid of Q at all.
Okay.
Drown me.
Oh gosh, that was dark.
I don't think
Oh, because of water. My whole
Yeah.
water thing.
Yeah.
Can you drown?
I mean, I'm sure at some point.
Let's test that theory.
Now
I don't
just
think
see,
Q
like,
is smart enough
holding
to-
JD's head down like in the Last of Us. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Like a puddle.
Yeah. Die!
I think. Do you remember the scene from Inglorious Bastards where Shoshana, at the very opening scene where she runs out from under the house and is like taking off across the field, and he's got the gun pointing at her?
Yeah.
Fantastic film. Christoph Waltz. Mwah. I think Q. That's how most people are gonna like. If Q was gonna kill you, he's gonna give you a head start and then try to like Pierce Q in the deer. From pretty early on.
Oh gosh, I forgot about that. That was a good moment.
Yeah, I think he's if he was wanting to kill you, I don't think he wants to kill anyone except for Pickett.
If I remember right, did the scene play out that Pierce tried to challenge you and then you totally showed him up?
Yeah. Yeah, he's really
that-
fucking good with the bow, and the bow had longer range than the gun.
You had
Right,
disadvantage,
yeah.
or you couldn't even shoot, right? Or Pierce had disadvantage.
Something
think
something
so.
happened. But like that was like getting as called out as Pierce could possibly get. Like that was
Which I will say, 100%. Q didn't see it that way. Q was
Right.
just like, "Oh, I have killed deer. Deer is killed."
the fact that it was Q who wouldn't comprehend that was like incredibly embarrassing was probably like a saving moment there, because if anyone else had seen it, like, and I'm like, 2 out of 3, motherfucker, or something,
Well, I'm upset we didn't get angry Pierce. But yeah, no, Q was just like, "Oh yeah, we're just trying to kill the deer, not we're trying to like show our manhood."
yeah, right, yeah.
Having a pissing contest.
Yeah, we're
think
not
that-
having a pissing contest.
I think that I'm the same with as Kess, is that Dorf isn't afraid of Q, but I don't think that Dorf is afraid of anybody in the party. However, he understands that many people in the party, if not everyone, could kill him, like 100%. Like he knows
Right.
that there are a lot of really powerful people, and he doesn't underestimate them, but he isn't afraid of them. He's just like, I mean, he's like, yeah, that little thing could probably kill me.
Is Dorf's level of trust with people, like, is it varying, or is he comfortable with at this point with the group?
I think that he's comfortable. Like, it goes back to the fact that he was a soldier. He's used to being in a unit, and so he kind of creates that bond, because you go from one place to another. You're not always next to the, with the same other soldiers. Like, you have to serve in these different, units and stuff like that. So he's used to that, but I think that he still has a certain amount of reservation towards everyone. So it's like he understands his enemies. He wants to understand his enemies. He also wants to understand the people that are on his side and what they're capable of in case they do become his enemies.
There's an episode, there's a movie, I think a DC animated movie, I think it was called Doom, where like Batman had all of the files on all of the Justice League.
Yeah.
And they
Fantastic film.
they ended up like hating him for it, and he was like, yeah, I'd do it again. I need to know what you guys can all do. And sort of that reminded me of that. And that's such a cool, like, keep the way that you like keep tabs on everyone, like, oh, okay, I see what they're capable of, like,
Except
That's
for he's
cool.
not as cool as Batman, because Batman could totally use those. Like, he has stuff in place where he could be like, I'm going to be able to take this person down. I don't think Dorf knows how to take everybody down or anything. He just knows what they're capable of and how he would die. Essentially.
Dorf likes to know his own stance in everybody else's perspective, and tries to make sure that, like, he doesn't get on anybody's bad side.
Right.
In an area where they would kill him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, Dorf might act like he's like very, he's not afraid of things, and I don't really think he has a lot of fear when it comes to like fighting and stuff like that. But he definitely doesn't underestimate the powers of everybody else. And like, I 100% think that Kess could kill him. I 100% think that, and he knows that, like, she's really powerful. She could probably kill me. Like, he doesn't see Jendi do anything but heal, so it's, it's different. But like, yeah, Kess could probably kill me. Q could probably kill me. Pierce, I don't know. I feel like he feels like combat wise, he's on level with Pierce. Like, he would actually stand a chance against them. But yeah, this is kind of going back to the PvP thing though.
Depending on how far away you guys started from each other, because
That's well,
Right.
see, but he could do
Right
magic.
close.
I mean,
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
yeah,
I
the
feel
Dorf has
like-
magic.
If there was going to be like a crazy Monty style like battle, I think that the Pierce Dorf one would be like that back and like it would go on for a while, I think.
Other than
I would like to see that. I would like to see Pierce v Dorf, like Super Smash Brothers Melee style.
That'd be kind of fun to do, like some kind of like instead of spilling the ale one week or something like that, we do just like a totally off the books PvP.
Not
I mean, we
canon.
kind of did that in one.
Non-canon,
We
yeah.
did.
You guys did it in like a very low, like
Yeah.
small scale.
And that's
but
the
like,
problem with spellcasters, is that it's usually like 1 or 2 rounds. It's whoever gets their thing off quickest.
Yeah,
Like, and that's what happened with me and Cass.
More of an initiative sort of thing,
Yep. Yeah, when Cass made her first save and Q didn't.
right? Does anybody else have anything to add as to whether or not they are afraid of Q and his new necklace of? I don't know. I mean, some of you might know what it is, and some of you might not. Nobody has actually that I
Tell
know
chat
of.
what it is,
Nobody.
Zach. Tell chat.
Huh?
Tell chat.
Chat Q, our little 2'4" kobold warlock of pain, has a necklace of fireball now because I hate myself.
With 8
Balls.
With 8
Balls.
balls. Yeah.
Hey, balls.
8 balls of fire.
Yeah. I shouldn't have
Hey,
rolled a
it rhymes
D10
with
on that
great.
one. It should have been. Actually, no, it was a D6. But anyway,
D6 plus some.
plus 3.
something. Yeah, it was a D6 plus.
3.
4, I think. 3.
3.
Yeah.
I watched the
Yeah.
episode 6 times.
Okay. Locke
Do not question Locke.
is our own lore keeper.
You rolled a 5 and he got 8.
Yeah. So does anybody have anything to add to that before we move on to the next couple of questions? Alrighty. Kitty asks, sorry if this has been asked. I do not think it has. Does Kess think she will tell the party / select few what she saw, considering that the party will think she is crazy? I believe this is in reference to your near-death vision.
This was the knockout.
The
Yeah.
knockout, yeah.
Knockout.
Well, she's already. She did say. So right before she walked outside, because she could hear everybody discussing everything, and they were wondering what the heck was going on. She walked over to the table before she walked outside and said that they were dealing with the void or a void. She didn't know which. She just said that, and that was it. Because they, it felt relevant and it felt like something that she needed to say. But she didn't want to go into any more detail as to how she knew that at that moment. And she wanted to just go outside and like grow her flower. And she definitely is like, it's kind of one of those things where I just imagine her constantly like pacing back and forth to herself, like with like this inner monologue of like, do I tell them today? Do I tell them like at breakfast? Do I tell them later? Like, when's the good time to tell them? Are they going to think that I'm crazy? Like, she wants to tell them, but she still doesn't really know everyone that well, right? Like she knows that she could probably tell Q and he'd be like, either like be like, well, you're weird, but not like, he wouldn't like look at her differently, you know?
Right.
Like, he'd just be like, my mother says that's weird, right, Mom? You know, like something like that. But like,
I do, however, want to know how that conversation would go. So if you do want to have that come up,
yeah, I think that she is, of course, she is very afraid of what Pierce is going to think of her at all times, and so she kind of doesn't want him to see her as any form of like vulnerable, which is also why she's having a hard time after freaking dying, you know, because she's wanting to appear strong and maybe not crazy, but she's gonna tell them, just the moment hasn't been right yet. So yeah,
That's very fair.
sorry for the really
Jen.
long-winded answer.
No, I mean that's perfectly fine. It's a complicated thing, especially like keeping a secret from a party is, and why is like the most complicated, one of the most complicated decisions that a player can really make. Like, why keep the secret? Is it going to help us? Is it going to hurt us? You know, it's perfectly understandable. Jendi, this question is for you. How has being visited by your god changed your attitude about the mission you were on with these people? Was it different before the scene in the temple? Was it less important to her before then?
Honestly, I get the way I want to answer it is like, I don't know, kind of disappointing, I guess. Like, I feel like she has a very strong connection with her deity, and being out on the open sea, she probably had talked to her previously. I don't think it necessarily changed her. No, I don't really think that it changed her outlook or anything much.
Okay. So you think it was just more of like Jindy is so centered and so rooted in what the decisions that she makes. It was almost like a foregone conclusion that this is where she was supposed to be. This was just more of like a
like almost like a
reassurance
fate
at the time.
thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think so, for sure. Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense. This question is actually an exciting question for everyone, and I'm excited. This question is from Anonymous, and
love that guy.
Yeah, love that guy. but this is from a new anonymous, and I know this because they said so. I just followed last stream. What's up with the characters? They're awesome. I just haven't figured out their personality fully yet. So I want everyone.
Welcome, new friend.
We do love
Welcome,
new friends.
New sasshole.
Yeah, well,
Bunch of sassholes in here.
so everybody describe you like elevator pitch. Describe your character in like 2 sentences. 3. Elevator pitch. Describe your characters. I'm not going to
Zach.
put a limit on it. Yeah.
Can I have you? Can I just say that at the very beginning of this, can you like call us out first? That would take a little bit of stress off me. You point to us and tell us which one to talk first. Perfect.
Oh, that was me, right?
Everybody go at the same time. Okay. So yeah, just because we do have a lot of new people, so let's give just a brief rundown of the characters and like the in as much or as little detail as you want, but just like why they are on this adventure and what led them here, and sort of defining personality traits. Let's start with Eric.
What? 2 sentences? Yeah.
No. I said I killed the 2 sentences.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of what you would think a stereotypical dwarf would look like and sound like. Ex-soldier. He is pretty jolly and friendly, but like I said, he likes to understand his enemies and understand his friends, and when that doesn't happen, he gets very angry. He has an underlying fear/anger that hasn't come out yet, and he's got a hedgehog that lives in his beard named Pickett. Oh, and he's also a Eldritch Knight. What level are we?
We're all
7.
level 7.
Level 7 Eldritch Knight.
Jen.
Okay, can I read my whole thing?
Yeah, totally. Go nuts. You can totally read your character descriptions if you want to, or you can just give like an elevator pitch. That's
It's really
totally
not that
fine.
long. Okay.
That's fine.
Jindy is a kind-hearted and well-intentioned water genasi. Tall, blue skin, blue hair. Hair is like flowy as if she was in the water. And pirate physician from the shores. We're going to rename that. So from the shores of Redacted. After the death of her family, she was put into the care of her godfather, the captain of Queen Erethane's Revenge, and thusly joined its crew. A terrible storm caused the ship to run ashore, where the crew has begun working on repairs to make her seaworthy again. At this point, the Kraken happened. The Kraken happened, and Jindy has joined this new crew.
She a pirate, y'all.
Yep.
Cleric.
Pirate physician.
Oh yeah, I didn't say that.
Pirate.
Cleric, yes.
Pickett.
Yeah. Okay. Who wants to go next? Can like looking at my screen, the next one is Goon.
Okay. Q is a orphaned kobold, which is a small draconic lizard creature, which typically lives in packs and was sort of scattered to the winds when his mother passed away. So this group happened upon this group during the events of the first episode, and he sort of just kind of clung to them out of defense and out of being a pack creature. He wears the skull of his mother on his head because she has told him that she will eventually be reborn if he follows her orders while she is on his head.
If he casts meteor into the earth and resets the yeah. That's Final Fantasy VII. Sorry.
Oh, I thought it was Scientology. Yes. So that's pretty much it. Honestly, he's a Hexblade warlock. He gets his power from the skull on his head and or the bone that he carries, which he turns into a bow and arrow or a boomerang, which y'all have not seen the boomerang really except for once, but it's mostly a bow and arrow anyway, because that's how he hunted for food. That's about it. I mean, like, he's a feral orphan child that has hitched his wagon to this wild and crazy crew because packs mean not death.
And
Packs
we will
mean not
all
death.
protect him with our lives.
Yeah, he's turned
so
out to be
cute.
really fucking cute. So
Which was
even
not your
though
plan originally, right?
not at all. He was
Cuteness.
supposed to be much, much, much fiercer, but he just turned into a bundle of protect.
I love that.
Goon, you should know that Ozman in chat said Cubone. I get it.
Yeah.
And that's the type of thing. That's the type of energy that you thrive on.
Yes, I thank you, Ozman.
So the like before we move on to the next one, like a couple of you guys have mentioned in your thing in your description, you guys have mentioned the events of the first episode. So just so everybody knows, the way that this group ended up together was they were in a town called Evercrest, which was a port town on an island, and it was absolutely ravaged by a tsunami, and they all were knocked unconscious and ended up in the same medical tent together, and that's how they ended up together. So that's a little bit of groundwork for you guys to have for you new folks. What about you, Locke? Describe Kess.
Kess is a Circle of the Moon druid. She's a changeling. She's very emo. She grew up in a family of thieves and was the only druid. So she's kind of like, I don't know, like rogue-esque, but druid mechanics. Is that the best way to put it? Maybe.
Sure, it's your character.
I'm not gonna. She ended up in Evercrest because she was wanting to learn more about druids after she snapped and left her home for reasons that the party does not know yet, so I won't give that backstory. And yeah, I don't know, she's real
Mysterious.
she's really weird. She's got some weird things going on, but
She got some shit.
she's really
working
young.
through.
She's very spoiled, but
How old is she?
But still sweet. She's 21.
Okay.
So, you know.
Oh, can we do ages?
Yeah. What's everybody's age?
Because Q is 9. So I mean, that's different because he's a small lizard child, but and like his mother was like, 20. Like, they're not old. That's how these lizard things work. But yeah.
How old is Dwarf?
76.
Jendi, how old is Jendi?
Looking
And 76 is young for a dwarf, by the way. Just
Oh yeah. I'm
40. Jindy's 42.
with you. Okay. I didn't realize Jendi was 42.
I didn't either.
And Pierce.
So I was looking back. I can't rightly remember. I think Pierce is 26, but someone can fix
Okay.
that for me.
You said he was 25, 26 whenever we did our last spilling the ale.
Okay, yeah.
Just like,
So
go ahead.
yeah, Pierce is in Evercrest to pitch his idea for a game show. No, I'm just kidding. He was a bounty hunter. He is a runaway. He's been sort of dabbled in several different like groups and stuff growing up, and has never found a home. Partly because he's an entitled prick, and when things don't go his way, he feels like the weight of the world is attacking him, and so his insecurities get the best of him, and he sort of fucks off. So, but the longest he was a bounty hunter, and he was returning a bounty, having slaughtered some harpies in Evercrest when he was noticed by some guard and took off running, and then Wave ended up with these people who he doesn't I mean, maybe barely likes in some form or fashion.
He
And
cares about us.
gets and now is like trying to figure out if this is actually home or just another group of assholes.
Fair.
Why
And-
not both?
And Pierce is a fighter gunslinger.
Yes.
¿Por qué no los dos?
¿Por qué no los dos?
And also in the party is Augustus, a turtle wizard, who he is played by Hrothmar, who is not with us tonight. But I won't like go in. I won't like pretend to like understand the intricacies that only a player can know. But he is a delightful turtle wizard with a velvety smooth voice, and really misses his apartment in Evercrest.
Just missed that apartment.
Yeah.
Apartment.
He's cute.
He loves macarons.
Loves
He loves
macarons.
macarons.
Yeah.
Loves tea.
Mhm.
Loves cookies.
He is very curious,
Long-winded.
long-winded.
And kind of the grandpa dad hippie sort of
Yeah.
vibe.
Hippie uncle is a
Hippie
good.
uncle.
He's the pacha.
Yeah. He's a bit of a
Yeah.
pacha.
Yeah.
I believe Pacho was one of the references that
What's his
Hrothmar
art-
actually used when he was
one
rolling
of-
that character.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's a
Emperor's
good one.
Groove.
And his favorite quote is, "Well, you see."
Let's see.
Cute.
It's exactly. It's always followed by
Exactly.
Q. Well, you see, Q.
This question is from Valkyrie, and it's for me, but I'm gonna open it up to all of us because all of us actually play. All of us have more to do with it than simply I have to do with it. And this is a little bit of like DM philosophy sort of shit. But Valkyrie asks, can the DM explain how they deal with the timeline and getting the characters to reach the natural endpoint of the campaign, and how they manage character development versus progressing the storyline? Regarding how I deal with the timeline and getting characters to reach the natural endpoint, really?
Crying.
The answer, well, I mean, the answer is actually kind of boring. It's just like, I give you guys stuff and hope you take the bait. And then if you don't, I make stuff up. That's pretty much the end of it. And like it's all every answer to this really has to do with improv. Whether it's, you know, the timeline or the characters or what have you, but like mainly as a DM, what I do is I just give them bait and I give them, you know, suggestions and NPCs that they can meet along the way. But there's going to come a time where probably the characters like break pretty. Actually, the characters already have broken pretty far from some of the things that I had planned. So
Like
which,
that
I mean,
drinking party, the drinking
like-
competition.
yeah.
Drinking competition
there
that
was some stuff.
apparently there was at the festival that we did not know anything about, but Zach clearly mentioned as an NPC, and we all just looked over it.
It's like you walked in to a brand new area in a video game and there's like this big shining light over something that's glistening, and we all went, well, what's in the cave?
Yeah. Literally, like, there's a freaking drinking competition that we all missed.
There was a lot of stuff at that festival that you guys. I mean, there will be other chances.
You
Fret
can
not. But
reuse
there were.
the stuff.
Right.
It's fine.
I thought you guys were gonna try to explore that festival just a little bit more.
We
It's
just
okay.
wanted our stick meat and we got out of there. We
Right,
killed the
right.
We did get some
magistrate
stick meat.
and left.
Roll the roller coaster.
You guys
Explored
went
the
in.
heck out of the meat.
You went in. You got some nice slow roasted meat. You killed the beloved NPC named after a character. You got the fuck out of there. Like
Named after a
was-
viewer, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, but I mean that's totally fun. Like it's not. I'm not salty about it. That's literally how it goes. That's
Look,
the
Jen-
beauty of it.
I think Jendi can back me up here when I say we didn't kill him.
We did not.
That's to be fair.
Be
Tell me
fair.
so.
They coerced him into no.
Be fair. Look, all we did was remove every other option he had.
I forgot that we were the only two in there.
Pierce and Jendi haven't had a lot of like Pierce Jendi moments, but god damn, that was a Pierce
But
Jendi.
we don't need any more. We didn't kill. He killed himself in front of us.
And like I've never really thought about it until now, but there may have been like an unspoken like, I think we did a thing. Maybe let's maybe let's not talk to each other for a couple.
We should.
Oh my gosh. Everybody froze. Okay, you're good. You're good.
Oh man. And as far as like how to manage character development versus progressing the storyline, and that's actually how he wrote it, and how to manage character development versus progressing the storyline. I would argue those two things are so tightly intertwined that there is no separating them. Like
I love the word intertwined.
Intertwined, yeah.
Yeah.
That is
so
my favorite
good.
new intertwined.
Yes.
said it, and I meant it.
Our destinies are intertwined.
Intertwined.
That sounds like our destinies are intertwined.
I like the way.
Oh boy, howdy.
All right.
Oh god.
All right.
But anyway, your destinies are so tightly wound. You know what? I'm sticking with
No,
it.
say
No,
what?
yeah, own it. Own it.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
fine.
Hang on.
Wound.
I think I get what Valkyrie's saying though. How do
well,
you?
yeah,
how,
I mean, like, let me go
okay.
ahead.
No, you go.
No, I was just gonna say,
You
like,
go.
it's so like character development and progressing the storyline, they go very much so hand in hand, meaning like as a character evolves, so do the choices they make, and therefore so does the storyline as it progresses. What were you thinking that Locke, what were you thinking that he meant? Because I
So,
think I know what you're gonna
like,
say, but go ahead.
So like if our characters are developing and it is taken, like all of a sudden like our characters decide to do something else because of character development that takes us away from progressing the storyline, I feel like is kind of, you know, like say all of a sudden like, you know, Kess wanted to go home and
Sure.
that's not where you had planned on the party going, you know, like how do you manage that sort of deal?
Well, I mean, that would be a little bit different of a situation. Like if Kess wanted to break from the party and actually like leave and quit adventuring, that might mean Locke rolling a new character. That's a conversation that the DM would have to have with the player.
Yeah.
But as far as like, say I've got this whole arc planned out based on a decision that you guys make, and instead you guys decide, hey, we need to go to this other town and check this other thing out. Obviously, I got to let you guys do that, and I mean that's fine. But there is a way Goon has to step away. So like I would obviously let you guys do that, but there's you have to be creative in the way that you continue to like insert the narrative into those moments, you know?
Yeah.
And let them, let the players figure stuff out.
I was gonna say that as like from my experience with DMing and stuff, like if your party wants to go off the rails, you allow them to go off the rails, but still figure out a way to bring them, even though it seems like they're going off the rails, it's still gonna roundabout bring them back to where they're supposed to be without making it feel forced.
You take the rails with the party.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want to.
So it's like you're still going to get to where I want you to be because I'm going to put things in place that will get to where we need to be at the same time allowing you to be able to adventure on your own.
Yeah.
It's not like a video game where you hit like, or let's say for example, Kess was like, I want to go home, but I need you guys to go with me. For example, like she's not breaking from the party, but we as a group are now taking an exit ramp. You can't be. It's not like a video game where we hit an invisible wall and you go, well, you can't. You bump your head against a force field.
Yeah, you just keep
Right.
walking.
Running in place.
Walk
and
off the edge
you
of the world.
don't seem to go anywhere. I guess you better turn around.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not the quest that you're on to progress the story. You got to go back and finish this other side quest. Yeah, no, it's like
It's a living, breathing world that we can
it's a living,
explore.
breathing world, and it's at the same time it's very intimidating, but at the same time very, very freeing because
So
like
free.
yeah, whoo! It's because I mean it literally is. It's both very simple and very complicated because it literally is as simple as picking up the rails and moving it with the players. You just have to get creative with how you do that.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's like throwing consequences out there because if it's just like, hey, we're all going to split and just go home for a bit, you're like, cool, this looming danger is going to advance while you're doing the
Right.
wrong thing and you're going to suffer from that. And a lot of times players will be like, yeah, you have to weigh the options. Like, do we actually want to deal with those consequences or do we want to go where we think we need to go?
Right. And as far as like, I would like to know that was like that part of it was very much so DM centric, but I would like to know like how do you guys think? Like, how do you guys manage character development? Is there an above the table way, like outside of the game, sort of like metagame thinking? Is there anything that you guys ask yourselves as far as like character development as the storyline progresses? Like, do you guys ask yourself, like, it's not not necessarily as simple as like, how does Pierce feel about this, but like, as the storyline progresses, do you ask yourself, what do
I think I see what you're putting down.
Yeah,
DM has an arc for like the story and the events in the world. Do we see our character's arc from where we're standing now? Is that what you're getting at? And how do we prep for where like we're gonna be?
Yeah, like how do you balance the narrative? How do you balance the narrative of your story that you want to tell and then the story that's happening around you? And all of that is not your job, but does that make sense?
I think that when you present certain elements in the story that you are telling, the overall adventure that you're taking us on, there's certain elements of our backgrounds and in our characters that we latch onto. It's like the moment that something happens that I'm like, hey, that kind of has to do with my thing, then you start to, because as a DM, most of the time, from the games that I've DM'd, when you're doing a long-term campaign and your players give you backstory, you sprinkle it in there, and you've done that. You sprinkle in these little things that are like, this has a little bit to do with Dorf, like where the people that we met in the session before last, Brenna, all them, like they're from a place that Dorf is familiar with, and that has yet to come out to, like, we haven't really said anything. There's been no interaction there, which there probably will be, but that's something that just like you put that in there, and it's like, okay, well, I know that that's something that has to do with my past, and I want to latch onto that because that's how I develop my character story.
Yeah.
For Pierce, like, I feel like I would like to see him become a real person. Like, I would like to see him learn about things like processing emotions and able to be vulnerable and not have to deal with, projection and entitlement, and understand, like, become a team player. I don't know that he will. It's like, I see that. I would like him to open up, but if the opportunity, doesn't present itself, or in some cases, if it backfires, if he's trying to like feed someone that he has some sort of care for, and the little chihuahua bites his finger, there's that may develop in a different direction. So it is like similar to you. It's like being little DMs of your own little emotional microcosm, where you're like, I'm going to sort of move in this direction, but if something happens, that's beyond my control.
Mm-hmm. I feel like, and you talk about metagame thinking, and Steve-O said he does this as well, and I think Goon and I have talked about this, but like, I bring up situations, even if they are absolutely bizarre, in my off time, and say, okay, what would Cass do if XYZ happened? And then I just kind of think about that and process that. And it's so interesting because I was like before this last session, like I knew there was going to be a conversation. Like, like I feel like me and Steve-O both, we just like, we knew there was going to be a conversation between our characters. And honestly, it did not play out at all like what I thought it was going to. And
it's like you do that in everyday life.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's like, I'm going to have to talk to my manager today, so this is what I'm going to...
You have 50 conversations in your head. It's like, it could possibly go these ways.
And it's almost never any of those 50.
And
never correct.
I think it's interesting because we talked about like the railroading. Like, I can't sit here and railroad her emotions, so I have to put the tracks in front of her as she just goes. Right. Like, it's the same exact thing. So,
like, we keep talking about the tracks, and I feel like that's a good metaphor for D&D and role play and storytelling in general is like you just move the fucking tracks. You know, if the story has something else it's trying to tell you, move the tracks.
Yeah, it's because it's funny because when you refer to video games, and it's a video game term when you say a game is on rails, it's a game that is giving you, it's specifically going a specific direction. There's no exploration out of it, you know. And D&D is on rails, but movable rails. It's kind of weird, like the same way where it's on rails, yeah, but those rails are, you know, you can pick them up and put them wherever you want.
They're like super fancy magnetic rails that aren't really spiked into the ground. You just push. Just take the railroad and push it someplace else.
It's like if a train didn't need rails, that's a bus.
It's a bus. That's a bus.
Guys,
It's a bus.
Like, one thing I was thinking was, I know that I have to figure out how to Jindy has to figure out how to explain to Q like resurrection magic, and I'm half like, okay, I need to figure this out and like have like a good like explanation, but at the same time though, I'm like, I don't want to think about it. I just want to like it to come off the top of my head. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm feeling. I don't know if I was here for the original question. I had to step away for a second, but as far as what everybody's talking about is, normally I do what Locke does, which is, I mean, Locke plays a different campaign with me, and I play a completely different type of character, and she knows that I'm almost always like, what's happening. Q is so freeing because I don't prepare for Q at all, because he lives so hand to mouth that every moment is a new moment for Q, that it's I none of this applies to me, is what I'm trying to say, because when Q is concerned, it's such a freeing character to play, because he's so his only concern is survivability from one moment to the next. And I would have thought that was an uninteresting character trait until I sort of breathed life into this little shithole. And it's become interesting. But he has like two goals. It's survive from one moment to the next. And so his railroad is very small. Like, you know, the pieces are being placed in front of him like that old Tom and Jerry cartoon, right? Just constantly placing a brand new railroad track in front of him. And he has a second goal that he doesn't know how to get to. So
I feel like you'd almost do your character a disservice if you actually did sit there and try to think out things beforehand, because it's because of the way that you play him, and it actually brings a whole level of D&D character that I don't really see very often, and it's really cool, because the rest of us, you know, like Locke, we sit here and think about it all the time, and like, what are we gonna do next? What's gonna happen? I think Locke more so than anyone, but
it's been a happy accident, because that's how I do my other characters that I play in different games. I'm always breaking down. Locke gets texts from me at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
I was about to say, do you know how hard it is to be in 2 different campaigns with Goon? Because I get texts from him about his other character. In that campaign, my character doesn't really give a crap about anything ever, as long as everyone's happy and safe. And then in this campaign, Q,
it's the other way around.
Yeah, and so like I feel like he's always messaging me about his other character with things, and I'm always messaging him about Kess with things, and because we're in 2 different campaigns, we just like never.
We never actually get to talk about the same campaign, because, like you said, Eric, is if I prepare too much, I won't actually react as how Q would react. And it's been freeing, and it was a happy accident because of the way I built Q to be sort of a step in, step out in case I needed to leave. And it's like you said, it's not a character I've ever seen, which I would love to take credit for because it's magic, but I didn't do it on purpose, is the thing.
Are you okay, Zach?
Yeah, I just saw what Jen and / or Eric tweeted about Intertwined.
We're making it a thing.
Yeah. Our fates are intertwined. All of yours at the party.
That sounds like a Kingdom Hearts title, Fates Intertwined.
Fates Intertwined.
Remix 7.
7-point twound. This one is from Kitty, and we're actually going to do a couple more questions, and then we're going to call it because we've already been talking for 2 hours.
Oh no!
Yeah, David,
Let's keep going.
Yeah, I mean, it's really easy to talk all night, but okay. So Kitty asks, and this is another like character backstory sort of thing, and some of you might not want to disclose everything because it's not all on the table yet. But Kitty wants to know how each of you ended up on the island in the tsunami in the first place.
I'll go first.
I feel like it's the most simple. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. We're on the same page there. Q Q is from a cavernous system underground in the island. He's from the island. Kobolds live slightly underground, not quite to the Underdark, but he surfaced on the island not long. I'd say about a year maybe before the events of the campaign. Roughly, Zach and I haven't figured out the exact timeline, but not long. Yeah, a year sounds good. And then his mother passed away, and then so since then he's been sort of scrounging around. But like he just kind of popped up on the island from his living place underground.
Pierce was similar. There's not a whole lot of depth to it. It's where he's from. He was from the islands that we all met. A bit nomadic, sort of going from place to place and job to job, and bounty hunting and surviving on the street. Sort of not terribly unlike Q, actually. So yeah,
Just in a more human way.
Just in a less feral, rabid.
Yeah.
I
mean, I don't know, Steve-O.
But maybe not. Maybe
There
he's eating a rat.
there was a boat full of dead pixies.
That's true.
Harpies.
Harpies. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, there was a time where Pierce shot and ate a rat. Who knows?
He definitely ate one of those harpies.
Weird.
Rolling back.
Harpy wings.
Harpy jerky.
Oh my god! I want Pierce to have killed Q's mom. It's fine. It's never mind.
No!
Like a bounty.
Don't give Zach that idea. What are you doing?
Write it down.
Let me just
Oh
roll real
my
quick.
God. Don't you
Do
leave that
it.
up to the
Do it.
fate. Like,
That would be wild.
oh my god.
It's not something I considered, but yeah.
Oh shit! Wow.
Okay, I can't say too much about Kessa's stuff because seeing as how she has some things to tell the party, I do think it's gonna come up soon.
Right.
So she went to the islands. Y'all can know that she went to the islands because of the like group of druids that lived there, trying to learn more about druids, the well keepers basically. So that's how she was there. I can't spill the ale because Valkyrie.
Because there's electronics out.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
because I think it's gonna naturally come up soon because of things that have happened. So.
Cough, cough. That was, and the Wellkeeper stuff, that was in like episode 5, 6, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
The all of that.
Well Keepers
Interesting.
was episode 5. Just saying. Because I know things.
Dorf came to the island because he was trying to research magic, and he came for the giant library of magical like scrolls and books and stuff like that.
Basically the library of Alexandria, except in D&D,
Yeah.
more or less. What about
Candlekeep or yeah.
Yeah,
Jindy was washed ashore.
Jindy's is a very interesting one because
A shipwreck was getting materials as I was going to get materials. Whoa, big wave! And then potions, and we were drinking them, and it's all gone downhill since.
How does a pirate really get anywhere, actually?
Yeah.
I want Jen to recount everything that's happened so far in that exact cadence.
In that way.
We were drinking them. There was a vampire.
Yada yada
A
yada.
couple of times, there was some meat involved.
Yeah.
Some things
Couldn't hold the
happened. We rode a
meat.
roller coaster. There was a thunderstorm.
Man turned into a puddle. I don't know.
I don't know.
But it wasn't me.
Or me.
By accident. And then Augustus isn't here to answer, so I'm actually not going to answer that one for him. But he did, much like everyone else, find his way to the island. So that made it sound like Lost that I was talking about just now. Okay.
Well,
Last-
it's not unlike Lost.
Well, yeah, you're right. Except you guys did get away before season 5.
Fair. This whole thing's purgatory, though.
Yeah, spoilers. God. Favorite moment of the campaign so far? If you had to dwindle it down to one, I might allow an honorable mention. But let's everybody give favorite moments of the campaign, whether it be combat or roleplay or just something stupid or what.
I
What-
loved the moment in the last episode between Kess and Pierce. I loved their conversation. It was surprising. I think I had a pretty good idea that how the two came to the conversation, expecting it to go, and then I think I was equally surprised as both Pierce and Kess how it actually went. And I was very proud of Kess for the way she handled Pierce. And I don't know. That's been one of my favorite roleplay moments to have witnessed in the campaign so far.
Like, just I agree. I think I agree with you, Goon. Just like, and I'm not gonna have a lot more to say about it, but it's an interesting like dichotomy, because I think of the first time that Pierce was ever approached by like anybody in the party with any sense of like care at all was when on the ship, when Kess came up and was like, we're leaving the islands for the first time. How do you feel? And he like sort of deflected and then like put it back on her in kind of a way. He like manipulated the conversation.
Yeah.
And then this one in this last episode,
She did the same thing to
was the
him.
flip back where he came up and I think she like knows now, like, okay, like I think I get you a little bit more now, and I'm gonna, if it's conversational fencing, she landed the strike on that one.
I now see them both as Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz from The Mummy.
Yeah, it was because it was disarming. And yeah, that and literally anytime Hrothmar opens his fucking mouth,
God.
Yeah.
is my favorite moment of the campaign.
Yes. He has the best one-liners.
The moment between Kess and Pierce is definitely my favorite, honestly, because I don't think I've ever, like, we grew up in theater. That's how Zach and Goon and I met, and I don't think I've ever been in a character that much before in my entire life. And so I was both proud while also letting her just say what she was thinking, right? Like, and
Almost like you were proud of her.
yeah, because he's a little jerk, right? It's just, she's just like stood up for herself, and honestly, because I think she started to panic because she didn't want. I think when he said that we both needed to leave, I think she realized that she didn't want to lose him. So I think she started panicking. But that and Q biting his hand was just, I don't know if I'm gonna get over that. That was great. That was hilarious. Like, and then honestly, like, then Q going back up and offering him like dirty floor chicken. Like, last episode was just so great. It was so great.
I feel like Jen and I just shouldn't come back to the show because
Absolutely not.
we're guys, we're not going to be there next week either.
No.
It did happen to be a fantastic episode, but I think there were so many denouements coming as far as those storylines. There were so many
by virtue of the preceding episode, not by virtue of you guys not being there.
Not by virtue of absence, yeah. Not at all.
I'm just kidding. Jen and I are great. I was just kidding, guys.
I will say in that regard, the episode before where I missed, I think was also like second best episode of the, like, it's just getting better as it goes along.
It's almost like we're
And-
figuring out what it is we're doing, you guys.
Fair enough.
Okay, I have 3.
Okay, let's hear them. Yes, let's hear them.
Good, because I got 0, so go for it.
Oh, I take his. I'll take his.
I
hate this
can't. No,
whole
I
thing.
love them so much. Like I'm thinking, and I'm like, I can't say one specifically because there's so many. And if I say one, then I'm gonna be like, oh no, I forgot about this other time.
Yeah,
So
I'm having the.
I really can't because
Okay,
it's such a great
so
campaign.
mine are a lot less crucial. I'm not sure what the word is, but crucial is the only word I can think of than everybody else's. So like I love the fact that we left the brewery with like kegs on our horses. And like I think we still have some. I just thought that's hilarious, and that like we kind of forget, but then like Dorf will go over, or like somebody will go over and be like, I'm gonna fill up my
Dorf
mug
never
with some
forgets.
booze. And then I personally loved when we were on the boat and Jindy is just like, I am the captain now. And,
Right.
Good one. A good
and
one.
Riddick was like, no. And then the last one would be like going through the festival and getting all the stick meat and just kind of, oh, I just thought of another one, and just like joyfully, just like enjoying life.
I just see that in my head as it plays back to me as like an 80s montage of you guys like going to the mall. It's
Okay, but that was cool. But then what about our very first Scrolls a Million shopping spree? That was amazing.
So that was an episode that I missed also, and that was also the Dorf Butt episode. And
Which
I-
Dorf Butt episode?
The first Dorf butt.
it was the first instance of Dorf Butt.
the
and
premiere.
The premiere, and I would not trade that moment for $1 million.
It's funny because I really like that time, but it was also when Dorf was really suffering from exhaustion.
Right.
That
Dude, you
it-
almost died. Like, we
Yeah.
don't talk about that. You
It
were like
sucked.
2 rolls away from dying.
It sucked because he was suffering so bad, and I was like, there's so much that Dorf would be having such a great time right now if he wasn't like 3 points of exhaustion. And like I hated it, but at the same time it was really good character development for Dorf. Like it was just like, dude, what is he doing? What is he all on? Why is he all about necromancy right now? He's like, carving stuff into the floors. Like it was, yeah. And then of course that was the reveal of Dorf Butt.
Right. Dorf Butt.
Which I want everybody in chat to know that we have a Dorf Butt emote in our Secret Adventure Society Discord.
We do. Never gonna see it on Twitch.
You'll never see it,
Got hair on
but
it.
it
It is
is
there.
fabled.
Fabled
Well,
indeed.
the first time that you I mentioned this, but the first time that Eric posted the Dorf Butt emote, I was on my phone on Discord and it came up, and I went, "Oh, the hair's on the butt." Like,
Oh,
And
man.
chat, there are several hairs,
Maybe
not just the one.
Yeah,
maybe one day,
the butt
Sassholes.
is not smooth.
Eric, did you have another one, or were you like piggybacking on Jen's? Was that your answer, or were you like adding?
that was kind of. I mean, like I said, there was a lot of really good ones that involved Dorf that didn't involve Dorf. Like it's just there's I think that every single episode has had really great moments in it. So.
I will say I love a good bath day, like a good spa day. Like any campaign that you're in, and that was a good moment. The group, it just shows a tenderness and a openness
Bond.
and a bond. Yeah, that I think that like that group needed. I'm kind of hoping we get another one soon, because first of all,
I
we
think another
probably
one-
need a bath.
I think another one would be a lot different.
Yeah, no, yeah, they're
think-
check-ins.
Stuff has
They're-
changed. Yeah.
They
I
can
think
check.
things have changed enough for things to be very different.
I mean,
That's
who
why
knows,
you
right?
need a
y'all.
bath day like every few episodes just to kind of like figure out where everybody's at.
Yeah.
Just to freshen
We
up.
did all take a rain shower on the boat
Yeah,
together.
True.
Cass is just very clean. Like, I mean, I just want to say that. She's,
Well, I mean, you can be filthy, but you can change your appearance to be clean.
Smells a little bit like a tiger sometimes, though. I will say.
And you know.
I mean, look, all I'm saying is you guys don't know, but Rat's House Bathhouse of Retro might actually be a chain.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
yes.
I'm hoping.
So I know I said that was the last question, but I'm a filthy fucking liar. So real quick, we have a lot of questions about one specific topic, and I accidentally skipped all of them, so I'm not going to do that.
Accidentally.
No, not accidentally. We just
Spencer
spent
is
some
mad.
well, I mean, yes, accidentally. Spencer, come on,
He
it
is
wasn't.
so mad.
Is Spencer the anonymous person
they
that
were
loved
all
me
of
earlier?
his questions.
Spencer puts his name on all his shit, so
Oh,
like,
that's fair.
yeah, you truly do have an anonymous.
It was me.
Weird. Okay, sorry. So, which one of these do I pick? Let's just do all of them at the same time. Spence says, Pearson Kess, I'm on this ship. Are you guys sailing it too? And Anonymous says, how do all of the rest of the party members feel about Kierce?
I mean, I think I don't want to speak for Locke, but I think the answer is we don't know. For sure. Like, ships are fun, but like Pierce has never had any kind of affection towards anybody whatsoever, like barely even his own parents, and he doesn't know how to form connections. And it's possible, but he's just such an asshole. I get if I were gonna make a prediction, my prediction is that Kess is gonna get fed up with his bullshit at some point.
Okay, like thinking outside of the character's tendencies, like you said, you don't know. Thinking outside of the character's tendencies, does Steve-O ship that? Does Steve-O, like, I mean, you don't have to answer that if you don't want to, if it's like odd because it's a character that you play. But is that something that you would like to see happen, or are you just kind of like neutral to it?
I really don't have any idea. It's more like I mostly sit here, like any time that it comes up in my head is I wonder, what I say to myself is I wonder, you know, as Augustus might go, perhaps, like, you know, like, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Also, part of me doesn't want to give you an answer because, like, it's gonna keep, like, you're gonna want to see that if that happens.
Stay tuned.
Right.
Jim and Pam didn't get together until like the 4th season.
I mean, we have established that the characters speak for themselves.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
But what about you, Luck?
I mean, of course, I ship them. I lock ship them. I think Kess and Pierce are both mad that they have feelings. Like, whether or not those feelings, like to her, like she has a crush. I've said that. But like, even if his feelings are not like crush level or anything like that, I still think that he's still just like angry that he even has, you know, feelings and doesn't want to like see someone hurt that he does kind of care about. Right.
If Pierce, even if this were Q or even Q or Dorf, not to minimize like the question, but like if he finds himself giving a shit about someone and they could end up getting hurt, then he's gonna, the chances of him pulling the plug on that are very high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Likely to like retract a bit.
I think she is just angry that she has feelings for a dumbass boy. Like,
Right.
I think she's just mad. Like,
Mood.
and
Just kidding.
a lot of that does have to do with certain backstory things and things like that. But of course I ship them. Honestly, not for Kess, but for Pierce, because I want character development so freaking bad for him. Like, good character development. So yeah, I'm selling the ship. But yeah.
So as far as like the rest of the party goes, does I don't know that the rest of the party has any reason to believe that anything is happening. Have your characters picked up on that, whether or not you at the table have?
Dorf is
or
100% oblivious.
Oblivious.
Yeah.
No idea.
Then why did Dorf mention that he only took his jacket? He didn't even take his jacket off for like anybody else? I'm just curious.
Oh,
After she
when-
died, and Pierce put the
Did Dorf
jacket.
say something?
Dorf said,
Oh, Dorf
"You
is
don't
starting
even."
to realize.
Dorf said, "You
Oh, I
don't
guess
even
so,
take
yeah.
that thing off in the bedroom."
I didn't realize. Oh yeah, I did.
Oh, I guess he was like, I think it was played as a joke, but
Yeah.
in
I'm sorry.
retrospect,
Might actually
I'm
be a
sorry.
bit-
I
yeah.
watched the episode 20 times after they aired. Do you guys not?
Locke
Nope.
is every actually guy on the internet. Like,
I am. With this, I am. Yeah.
if you'll notice, in
So Dorf
Tegan-
might be starting to sniff that something's going on a little
Yeah.
bit.
I mean, you know, I was just.
I love that. I love that Dorf is the one picking up on the romantic subplot.
but you think, like,
It was 100% played as a joke and not
Right.
necessarily in character, but yeah, I guess I could see
It was
see that
just
him.
interesting
Like, do you-
because you were like, you don't even take that thing off in the bedroom, and then you gave him the hat, and it felt like role play because then you like right after you were like, anyways, I have this for you.
I just remembered as a player that I had that even because
Yeah.
I did not remember that I had that hat until the jacket, and I was just like, "Oh, Pierce, article of clothing. I've got his hat in my bag."
and I thought about that hat every day up until you gave it to me, or Eric, because I was like, that was one of those ones where I was like, what's he gonna do? Like, you know?
who's this?
Yeah.
What's he gonna do?
So I guess then Dorf kind of probably has a clue, but I don't think that Dorf is really invested in relationships at all as a character.
Right.
So like romantically, so he kind of is just like, okay.
Right. And like I understand why you didn't really think that he had noticed, because even if he did notice that like you didn't take the jacket off in the bedroom, that's not necessary. That for Dorf, I can see that being like I can see that being as simple as just an observation without any sort of deeper connective tissue, if that makes sense.
Dorf is shallow. No,
I don't know.
but yeah,
That's not the implication I was making. Let's be
No,
clear, but
I was making it. I mean, he's not as intuitive as you know that, like he doesn't see, but still, I guess he kind of does, you know, like he might get a little bit of a thing, but as a player, I don't usually ship characters in fiction, like, or as a person, I've never really done that, so I'm not really familiar with it because of that. But
God, I do.
yeah, I don't know, I never do.
Yeah.
I do really hard. I will say Goon Goon ships it a ton. But it's because they give me that Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz vibe from The Mummy, and I just put that, like, I'm gonna have to go rewatch The Mummy to see why they give me that vibe. But there's something there that wasn't there before, as a famous teapot once said.
Jeez.
Oh my gosh.
And as someone who plays I play a relationship. I do. I've done relationships in D&D a few times, and I enjoy them a lot. They can really express. They can really pull out things about a character that you don't really realize. I will say Q was built as an ace character, someone who's aromantic, and so I will say, even if he wasn't, he would not be. He doesn't understand what's going on. He doesn't understand the viewpoints. He is also young, but mature. But again, I built him as an ace character, and so he's completely oblivious. Goon is hoping that if somebody in chat is writing like smutty fiction about it, that they'll get me on Twitter and tag me on the AO3.
But similarly, because Pierce's emotional level is not very high, so his level of obliviousness is probably somewhere between Q and Dorf.
Yeah, that's fair.
I feel like she's given him enough gifts.
You're playing too much Stardew Valley.
Right. He's okay. Like Locke, you do this thing in games where like you try to romance the most difficult character. Like you try to
Gosh,
romance
look.
Sebastian. Now
Yeah.
you're trying like.
Well, Sebastian's a dreamboat,
Illidan.
Look, Sebastian and Pierce are not very far off, moody wise. Honestly,
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
like
You have a type.
mhm.
Wait, is
Am I that
Sebastian?
moody? I guess.
No.
I don't know.
Zach, you're the you're the
I'm not my wife's
perfect
type.
guy,
This is a weird time
Zach.
for me.
Don't go that.
Wait,
Listen,
what?
my wife also plays Stardew Valley. Don't go down that road. Don't.
Oh, geez. Okay. This really is the last question, and this is for Q. This is from Spencer. Are you hoping to bring back Mother? That scene broke my heart. If do not feel if there's this is generally across the board for spilling the ale. If there's anything you do not want to answer, plead the fifth. But
yeah, I assume Spencer's talking about the scene about asking Kess what it was like, which did come off the cuff for me. I was not a part of the previous episode, and I did pre-think a little bit of how Q would react, how Q would have reacted if I was there. But when we were during that next session, the last section that we had, I was like, well, you know what? He's gonna want to know about coming back from death, which Cass is now officially the only person he knows has successfully done it. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think the party knows, but yeah, that's a big driving factor for Q is that he is. That's an interesting question. Hold on, because he doesn't think his mother's dead per se, because she's communicating with him, and he doesn't quite understand that that's different. Does that make sense? Am I talking out my ass?
No, I think only recently Q had mentioned, like, do you guys like?
Wait, hold on, you muted?
You cut out.
Oh, I think recently there was a moment where Q, like, for the first time was like, do you guys not hear voices in your head?
Yeah.
yeah, there was. That was pretty early.
It wasn't a huge moment or anything, but I think the general consensus was like, yeah, that might be just you, buddy.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, he's not entirely sure what happened and how it happened. Like, he understands the concept of death. I mean, he murders is a strong word, but kills his food and eats food. He understands that concept. But he's under a situation where I guess in his head, it kind of is like his mother's on the brink of death, or like she's having a hard time crossing back over. It's really, really, I mean, I've been pretty obvious with this. He's having a bit of delusions, obvious, about that whole situation. And he's very curious because no one's wearing Kessa's skull. Like, she's literally back. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
So a situation has happened that is different than the previous situation that he has experienced about someone who he's cared for that passed away. And so he's not going to be as good at figuring that out as you and I would be, and you being the rest of you plus everybody in chat, because he's a little bit less cultured, I guess is the best way of saying it. But there's a lot of big questions that I think that he's struggling with extremely lately. I don't know how to answer the question. I just know how to say words.
Yeah,
yeah,
that makes sense.
Did a good job.
Yeah, for sure.
He's struggling.
So that's not going to be the last question because A, we're all sad now, and B, there's another one that I missed. Hope you guys didn't have to pee. So one more question from Spencer.
Love
Jindy.
Spencer.
How did you feel after saving Messy Kessie twice?
Now,
not just once.
Hang on.
But 2 times.
Also, keep in mind that we haven't been able to roleplay anything because she was not there. So
right. So like, Jen, if there's something you're wanting to save,
yeah. So if you want to like save that,
Tune in on Wednesday.
Yeah, I definitely want to play that out
Okay.
first.
Okay.
I think that's
That's perfectly
I'm
logical.
excited for that. It's Q.
feel like-
Q
I feel
hasn't
like-
gotten to talk with Jindy since the ring thing, really, and I'm so excited for.
I feel like
Y'all
it's going to
have not
involve
talked very much.
scolding.
Yeah.
I feel like Jindy is going to scold Kess somehow.
Like,
Why are
hey,
you
I'm trying to
dying?
heal- Like, you know,
I don't know, maybe. Who knows?
yeah, like a doctor whose patient just will not quit smoking. Just like stop drinking random stuff. Like, stop dying.
Water,
Okay.
good night, beer.
I did. So the last
not
thing that
beer.
Jindy had
Oh,
said
sure.
to Kess was, "We have to talk about this." Yeah,
Yeah, you screeched it, but that is exactly.
she was running away. I wanted to make
Yeah,
sure
no,
she
it was
heard.
hilarious. It was fantastic. Do you know how
That's good.
expensive diamonds are? Says Eel.
Pretty expensive. 300 gold at
Does
least.
know, unless you're in a pawn shop.
True.
Jindy has no subtlety in social situations. I've noticed. Like,
I love
'Cause it
Jindy's
was-
bluntness.
it was when Kess had grown the flower or whatever, and Jindy saw it and stuff, and she was like, "We're gonna talk about this." Like,
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
super tense things, and Jenny's over there like, let's chat, let's do this.
flipping the chair backwards and sitting
Yeah.
in it. You know, I was like, "Let's rap."
So
Let's
you're growing
wrap.
flowers back behind the bar.
Oh, hang on. Locke has a question about flowers.
Okay.
What made Pierce take the flower?
That was a
You don't
decision
have
that
to answer if.
that was a decision that Pierce made that Steve-O didn't make.
Love it.
That was absolutely 100% out of my hands.
Okay.
And like I think he thinks right now if the flower can stay alive, the flower's picked, so it's gonna die, and he knows that. But like if the flower is linked in some way, so if this is safe for now, Kess is safe for now.
Okay.
Shit. Well,
Like there's nothing he can do. He's not a healer. He shoots shit, but it's like, and I will tell you that I did not think that through until you asked that question.
Okay.
So that that was a Pierce decision. I did not make that
hi,
decision.
dude.
Okay.
Wow. Guys, we got deep tonight.
We did.
We got all in the shit. We spilled all the ale.
3 knuckles.
Generic Mom says, seriously, I could see this as an amazing series on Netflix. Well, do you know a guy? Like, do you know anybody?
Yeah. Hit up
we got-
Mr.
We still got some work to do. We still got some.
Yeah.
Netflix approves everything anyway, so
I mean, like, you just call him.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't approached us.
I'm just saying, like, the Adventure Zone is going to be on NBC. Critical Role is going to be on Amazon. Like, Netflix needs a D&D, you know? Well, and technically Stranger Things, but is it though?
No, it is not.
No.
Steve-O's like, no, it's not.
Sorry.
D&D.
That's supposed to have so much venom in it.
Steve was like, "I know D&D.
This is not the D&D of my time.
Of all of us, I think
playing it.
I know D&D."
I've been playing it for 3 straight weeks, guys. Like,
But guys, we are coming up on a year. Like, really soon, we're coming
Really
up on a year,
soon.
which is
wow, yeah.
which is wild for a little campaign that came from a fundraiser that came from us being bored from sitting at home during the COVID times.
Yep.
What was the
Sassaniversary.
date of the
April.
fundraiser?
It was on a platform that no longer exists.
It was in March.
That's
Yeah, it was on Blender.
It was like March 28th or 21st.
I thought it was April.
Maybe it's April 21st.
We should have
I thought it
a
was
special.
April.
It's fine. We'll
Sassiversary.
Yeah, we should
Yeah, what we
definitely
should have a
Sassiversary.
Sassiversary. Clerics for Medics dose.
Yeah.
Part
Even
Redux.
Clericer.
Yeah.
Cleric harder.
What?
The Fast and the Helios.
I like that one.
Live free or cleric hard.
Ah, that's
Oh,
good.
man.
Electric Booga Cleric.
Ooh, Eel, that's
No.
a good question. We'll do that like next week or something, or not next week, because we have an episode next week. So this time next week you can catch us here
Yeah, save
actually
the-
playing.
Actually,
our
I want to
characters.
answer that question. Can we answer that question right now? Because I would
Oh
love to.
my gosh.
Like
Yeah.
I mean, this is we can end on a bit of brevity. We've asked this question as far as like who voices your character in an animated series. So you can answer voice, you can answer IRL, but this is let's end it this way. Who plays your character, whether it's voice animated or IRL?
I'm going to actually. So I did answer this question on the last Playing the L I was on, sort of both already. So I'm going to give a different answer
Okay.
just to be interesting. Joel McHale.
Okay.
Wow. I just watched
Okay.
a ton of Community bloopers earlier today with my wife while we were drinking. And I love Joel McHale as a pick.
That's good.
very,
Yeah.
very Pierce vibes for
Barry
sure.
Pierce.
Joel McHale as a prick, even.
Yep.
Yeah. What about you, Goon?
Andy Serkis.
yeah,
If we're
that's what I
doing
said
like a
last
live
time.
action, yeah. I do think an Andy Serkis can pull off Q as far as I don't know the voice, but like Tony McHale. Wait, Tony Hale.
Tony Hale.
Because the accent and stuff, but like you're gonna have to get some stop motion, some sort of not stop motion.
Some
Yeah,
motion
but I need a 2
yeah,
foot
okay.
for Tony Hale in my life.
I love that. Tony Hale is, of course, Buster Bluth,
Buster Bluth, yeah.
who we've said many times is one of the bases for Q. What about you, Lot?
I honestly don't know at this point. So
Okay.
if chat has any one they think would be good,
Rachel Weisz from The Mummy. I'm just
Brie
kidding.
Larson.
I can
Brie
see that.
Larson? Okay. I like that one.
It's a pitch.
Valkyrie thinks Will Smith to
Yeah.
play Kess, which I think is a fantastic
Perfect.
choice.
Will Smith could play all the characters.
Yeah.
Will Smith could play the shark in Jaws, and I'd go watch it.
Yeah.
Have you seen
Actually, I
Shark,
think that's a
Shark
reboot they're
Tale?
working on. I think he's doing the voice of the shark and Jaws. So we'll come back to you, Cass, if you don't have any idea. What about you, Dorf?
Yeah.
Physically, like in a live action, I have no idea. But voice, I said it. I've said it before. Peter Capaldi.
Oh, that would be
Yeah,
perfect.
that is
Good.
super good.
He would have been
Good.
good.
So good.
I mean, I think they could. I think they could do however they got the dwarves to be dwarfs in the Hobbit movies. They could Peter Capaldi him in there live. I think
I'll take it.
That's true.
that's such a
versatile
good
role
pick.
for him.
Yeah.
Jen, what about Jindy?
Rebel Wilson would have played Jindy.
Okay.
That's perfect.
Good.
Okay, I'm in. That's
Or-
perfect.
Jack Black.
Or Jack. Okay. Again, Jack Black is another. He can play anybody.
Yeah. He
Uh,
You
What
guys talk
co-
about celebrity crushes and stuff. Jen has like celebrity crush on Jack Black. That's why she married this right here.
We do love a
love
Jack
it.
Black.
we do.
We
Love
do.
it. I will
Yeah.
stand Jack Black.
Yeah.
Hold on. Who
Love it.
can the whole thing? The whole crew pitch into who's playing Augustus. Just from our perspective, because I'm trying
Patrick
to think of
Stewart.
somebody dry like Patrick Stewart.
Cumberbatch comes to mind.
I would love to see a Cumberbatch Augustus. Yeah, a little Doctor Strange, but
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I like that.
For some reason, I've been watching a lot of Brooklyn Nine-Nine so Captain Holt from that, like with his dryness, I feel like
Oh
would be
my
really
God.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
my
good.
gosh.
Yeah,
Oh, that's so much. Yeah.
I think that's the winner.
That is the winner. Oh my God, what's that guy's name? I love him so much.
Andre
Yeah, I
Drummond.
can't-
Yeah.
he's a non-9-9er. I'm gonna have to go check him out. What's the character's name?
Captain Holt.
Captain
He's
Holt.
he's
I'll
very
check-
straightforward, like I don't know, no nonsense, kind of just like yes. We were laying in bed last night, and Pixel was above me, and like there's an episode where somebody replaced his dog, and he was just like, "You're not Cheddar, you're some common bitch." I just said it to Pixel.
Oh, you know,
Oh man.
on that note from The Good Place, I could see oh shit, what's his name? Coach
Ted Danson.
Ted Danson playing a good. I don't know why, just that dryness. I've only seen a couple episodes of Good Place. This might be less good than the Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but I've never seen that one.
Captain Holt's pretty perfect.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I do love Ted
Yeah.
Danson also.
Ted
as
Danson would not be a bad Augustus.
No, I'm into all of this. I'm into all of it. So you guys tweet using the hashtag Secret Adventure and tell us who you think should play who. That's where we're going to end tonight's episode. Thank you so much for watching and all your insightful questions. This has been so much fun, and we're going to have to do another one of these sometime in the not too distant future, maybe next Sunday, AD.
Also, if you tweet with that hashtag, you have the possibility of getting your name inserted as an NPC into our game. So do it.
Yeah,
And that's a good thing for most of the time.
I meant to say that, then I forgot to. So thank you, Eric. It's a good thing unless Jen.
Just don't let your character to room with me and Jenny. Is that what I was gonna say?
Don't forget this episode of Spilling the Ale and every episode of Spilling the Ale, as well as our main campaign sessions, can be found on YouTube the Friday morning after they air. So you can catch us over there, youtube.com/The Secret Adventure Society. Be sure to like and subscribe over there.
Please do. The link is in the chat.
Yeah, the link is right gender in chat. And also, if you listen to podcasts, we don't put the Spilling the Ale sessions in the podcast feed, but you can find the campaign sessions themselves on your favorite podcast app.
Oh, guys, on YouTube, make sure you comment because that helps the algorithm. So that would be awesome.
Yes, and thumbs up the videos.
Yeah.
All of that helps other people maybe possibly become sassholes. So
Even if you're just saying, you guys are awesome, I like Dwarf's nose, it doesn't matter. Just comments are great.
Yeah, exactly.
Mostly the nose.
Like, if you don't have anything else to say, just say Dwarf's butt.
Dwarf's butt, yeah.
Just Dwarf's butt
What
and
if
one
we
nose
had
bit.
what if our out saying was sassholes out?
Sasshole. Out.
Sasso's out.
Drop the mic. Do we have anything else to say?
Yeah, can I
about
add
that?
that this entire group is a group of extremely talented streamers that are very, very funny and attractive and fun to watch. Attractive in like come and attract kind of way, and you should follow their own individual channels. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, like in every sense, though. Goon.
Yeah,
Every
Yeah.
sense,
Yeah.
but
In every
specifically,
sense.
I was trying
Yeah.
not to be weird about
Super
it.
sexy.
But like,
No.
Oh, then I take my air kisses back then.
but also follow all the individual channels, including Hrothmar, who's not here.
Yeah, do y'all wanna
Especially
do a quick-
Hrothmar.
Do y'all want to do a quick roundtable pitch fest before we close, or is we can do yeah?
Links are in
We're
chat.
good. We're good. We're
Links are in chat. Yeah,
You guys-
yeah, go follow us.
You guys just
Go
know
do the
that
thing.
we're all awesome, and you should
Yeah.
follow everyone that is on that list of cast right there. So
And we all stream as well because Goon started streaming again.
I
So.
finally am back.
did.
I'm back.
Doing
It's
a
not
Nuzlocke.
scheduled yet, but I'm back.
Yeah. Which is, I was so excited. If y'all need your day stream fix, Goon and Steve-O both are in on
I
it.
lurk in every single one.
We're midday.
All of them.
Day
Midday
shift.
streams.
Pokemon and Star Wars.
Pokey.
Two of my favorite things.
That's a crossover I need in my life.
Oh, I will send you some things.
Okay.
No Rule 34.
oh,
No, not those things yet.
Not yet. So again, thank you all so much for watching. Our next session will be a week from today, Wednesday, the February 10th at 7:30. Same SAS time, same SAS channel.
Nice.
Thank you. I knew that if anybody would appreciate that,
Yes.
Goon would. I think that's all for us. So thank you all. Spencer, go to sleep. You have work tomorrow. We love you very much. Please, God, take care of yourselves. It's fucking weird out there. Take care of yourself.
Wear a mask.
Wear a mask. We love you all. Meeting adjourned.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.